On tonight's episode of the Gamecasters, we run through all the games we've been playing recently, we talk about what gaming means to me, and we do our top 5 games that make you feel dumb. Stay tuned. Well, hello there, gamers, and welcome back to episode 28 of the Gamecasters. My name is Ryan.
And I'm Natalie.
I'm Jeff.
And we have been doing some really awesome things lately. I'm just kidding. We're boring people.
Yeah.
We don't
We
do too
always
much.
say that.
What, that we do awesome things? Or
No, that we're
boring?
boring.
Aren't we? Well, okay.
Well,
you
I don't think we
have 30 seconds right now
Okay.
to tell me why we're not boring.
Time's running out.
Go.
We play games.
Okay, that's one.
Okay.
I don't like this spot thing.
Well, it's because you can't think of anything. We're even boring
We're
right
fun.
now.
You go
we
to
did
work?
karaoke.
We can't fill
last
30
night.
seconds of excitement.
Whoa,
we
back up.
Okay.
You did karaoke
Well,
last night?
Not in someone's basement, and I didn't do it. Ryan did it.
Were other people there?
Kind of.
We had a game night, and then our friend Brian bought like this microphone, this karaoke. Like
This guy is the not to cut you off, but I
That's
cut you
okay.
off. I'm sorry. This guy is like
normal.
this other group's version of Joe Madigan. He does not half-ass anything.
Okay.
He's like, yeah, I thought one day in my sleep that I wanted to start singing. So the next day he goes out and he buys this PA and he buys this, amazing like microphone stand and microphone and this little karaoke machine thing and an iPad for the thing, and it's he went all out.
yeah.
And
it
so
was
he's got like
cool.
this. It's like the singing machine.
So
karaoke
yeah,
system
it was like
set up in his
11:45, and I'm like, all right, let's go home. And Brian's like, hey, you want to like try out this like karaoke thing? And Ryan's like, okay. Like an hour later, I'm like, let's go. It's like 1 a.m. and
it
he's
was-
like, wait, but we want to play this song. Oh, we want to
Well,
play
it was
this.
sweet because then at one point he like brought his guitar out and he put the guitar.
It was
into the
really
thing, and then we
cool.
played
It was just very late, and I was tired, but it was awesome. It felt like you were putting on a show for us.
Yeah,
in
we
the
were trying
basement.
to, but you kept getting tired.
What was the best song? What was it? What was the song? The song of the evening.
You say it. What do you think?
Well,
I sang "Plush" by
yeah. What was the song that Brian
By
ended
Stone
up playing
Temple
the
Pilots?
guitar and you sang?
that was an Alice in Chains song. We did 2. We did "Nutshell" and then we did "Down in a Hole."
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we did
yeah.
some '90s grunge,
Man.
kind of stuff. It was cool.
Yeah,
well,
so
Brian
good.
wants him and me to go to like a coffee shop in Milford and do open mic.
Cool.
So we might do that
Yeah.
at some point. See, we're not that boring. You always
what
say
I'm
we're
just-
boring. Gosh, if I had 30 seconds, I could tell you what.
I mean, if you asked us like a month ago, we were boring, but like the last couple of weeks, we've been not boring.
well, a month ago we were into Billions, and that's done.
Yeah, you were just
still gotta watch
watching TV.
that.
Yeah,
know.
we're done with that.
It's really good. Oh, so we another show that's really good that you could watch now. It's on Netflix, right? Was it Netflix?
Yep.
It's called The End of the Boopin' World. The End of the Effing World.
Oh, is that season 2?
Yeah, season
Okay.
two
Did
came
you
out.
watch the first season?
Oh, you
Season
did?
2 came out.
Dude, season
I
2
didn't
is
know.
so much better.
All right.
We just watched it yesterday morning because there's like 8 episodes and they're like 20 minutes each.
Yeah, you can get
Okay.
through it in however long, 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'll
time
watch
But it's
season
really
2
good.
because season 1 I liked. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, it was
We
good.
like season 2 possibly better.
I think
good.
it's way better.
Yeah.
Well, it's better. Well, you know how
watch it.
season 1 the thing is like, okay, thinks he's a serial killer and she just wants to get away, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm going to kill you."
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh, come
And
away
then
with
he
me."
like falls in love with her.
Spoilers. Jeez.
Oh, sorry.
Holy cow. So, but you know what happens then. So
Yeah.
season 2 is pretty much a continuation of season 1. Like it's not really like they could have put these episodes together and called it season 1.
Yeah, but it was like 2 years later.
You'll see. It's
Okay.
really good. There's suspense,
I'll watch it.
there's comedy, there's no boobs or nakedness though. So it's not worth your time.
But it's
What about
weird
Billions?
in a fun way.
there's boobs in Billions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still don't have Showtime.
Oh,
I
yeah.
check. It just keeps coming up that I still
It doesn't.
don't have it.
Oh,
He just thinks,
darn.
sooner or later.
One day,
boop,
it's gonna
there
run.
it
We gotta
is. Oh,
cancel
Showtime.
it. We're done with Billions.
Oh yeah. We're spending all this money.
Showtime's listening.
Sorry, Showtime.
We'll give you your money back when Billions season 5 comes out.
If you want to give it to us for free, that's cool.
I don't know if they do that.
I know.
Maybe they do.
Probably not even listening.
Yeah. So last episode we talked. I think it was last episode. Obviously, we talked. Jeff had been talking with this teacher lady on Instagram. What was her Instagram name? Jeff, do you remember?
Yes, she's all the world's a stage.
All the world's a stage.
Wasn't
That's
she
right.
like in Colorado or somewhere?
She is in
No, Missouri. Remember Missouri?
Oh, right.
Yeah,
right.
barbecue. They got
Yeah, the
barbecue. in
BBQ.
Missouri.
Oh, the barbecue.
in
Of
Kansas
course.
City,
It's in,
Missouri.
I think it's University City.
That's where she
Missouri.
lives. University City.
Yeah.
That doesn't roll off the tongue.
It's like
very well.
University City.
University
Yeah.
City.
I think
That's like
I can double check.
there was this restaurant in Westland called GJ's, and I'm like, that's the least
It doesn't
crisp
roll
and
off your
cool
tongue,
sounding.
yeah.
Hey, let's head on over to GJ's diner. So you can't really say that flowingly.
Yes, you have to
Yeah.
say it slowly. University City,
University,
Missouri.
City, Missouri.
which I went on Google Maps, is over 500 miles away.
Okay.
So from where we are sitting in this
Mm-hmm.
basement, it's
Oh, you Googled it
over-
from the basement?
from the basement.
Nice.
We're over 500 miles away. Yeah, so her name is All the World's a Stage on Instagram. You should follow her because she does amazing things with her students and plays board games.
Yeah, she's a teacher. If you didn't listen last time or you don't remember, she's a teacher just like Jeff.
Yep.
Drama teacher.
And so we were chatting initially.
dramatic.
A little background if you didn't hear. We talked about some board games that we were playing with our students and how she uses them in her class. She teaches drama and how she uses games to kind of like bring kids out of their shells and to do these different things. And then I had a board
great
game
way.
club, so I told her we were talking about games that we play and suggestions back and forth, and we talked about having our students play games with each other through some sort of video platform, and we ended up deciding on Skype because it just seemed the easiest instead
Yeah.
of yeah.
Yeah, it's
Because you
simple.
can FaceTime, but then you're on a tiny phone, and so we
Yeah,
Skyped.
the only
on.
other one I could think of would be Google Hangouts.
Yeah, so Google Hangouts would be cool too.
But it's all the
especially
same,
if you
right?
wanted more
More people involved.
I don't know. Skype probably has multi-video
Maybe.
format. At this
I'm sure
point,
it does,
but
yeah.
Anyway, so finally on Friday we were able to work it all out so she's an hour behind because they're in Central Time.
Yeah.
It's geography.
We won't hold that
And-
against them.
Yeah, and they were able to get a group of kids. So she was able to Lydia Waymeyer. And Mrs. Waymeyer was able to get a group
Oh,
of
that's All the
students.
World's a Stage's actual name?
Yep. So Miss
Christian
Waymeyer
name.
was able to get some students to her classroom about 1:30 because we get out at 2:30.
Sure.
And we Skyped in and shout out to Brittany Woods Middle School. If you're
Oh.
listening, it's Brittany Woods Middle School. The
school is listening
My
itself.
school, the whole school's probably listening. So my school is Thurston, and Brittany Woods was able to
Okay, so these are middle school students here.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
remember
I have
they were
high school,
younger
so
than
they have
his
middle
Right.
school.
Right.
So they were 8th graders, and they were so excited.
Well,
to
so not
see
a
each
ton
other.
younger then.
Not a ton
Because
younger.
a lot of the kids in Board Game Club are freshmen, right?
Yeah, they play with some freshmen. My group, there was 9th through 12th graders, so it was kind of cool. So they
Oh,
had a
okay, so you
few-
did have some seniors in there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and we talked about, they asked questions about like, how's high school? And they got to know each other, and they were like,
Oh, so you did like a chat session before
Yeah.
you started?
Yeah, so they
how
met
many
each
of
other.
of those kids were there?
there were probably, I think she had about six kids that were
Okay.
there, 6 or
Yeah.
7. And we didn't have the whole like 25 that were sitting around, so that we had 7 or 8 that were also sitting and talking to them, and they were
Perfect.
talking about, what grade are you in, and this is my name, and they were all like, hi, back and
Yeah.
forth. So that was very cool. And then we decided to play Medium by Greater Than Games,
Yeah.
and
We've done that. We've
you
done
guys
that
play
game on the
Medium
show.
here. So yeah,
Yeah,
you do 2
yeah.
words. You got to say a word that matches those words, or that's related to those words at the same time. So Miss Waymeyer would take 2 cards and she would hold it up to the camera, both cards, and we'd look at them, and then she put them down, and then we count backwards, and my students in Michigan would count back, and then her students in Missouri would count back, and then they would say the
Missouri.
same word Missouri. They would say the same word at the same time, and they were so bad. There was like very little matching, but
Well, they're in a foreign state,
yeah, it must be. Yeah, they were just,
500 miles away.
so, and that totally didn't matter. Like, it didn't matter that they didn't match like anything.
Oh, yeah,
but
that's
it was
almost
just like
funnier that
so
way.
fun. They had so much fun. My
Did
kids
they?
had a blast.
Just laughter all around.
Yeah, her students afterwards, she said they couldn't stop talking about it. They were so excited. They wanted to like keep going. They want to like take a field trip to Michigan now and like meet
Wow.
us. So it was very cool. So it
Yeah,
was,
they had never heard of Michigan, you said. That's super
so
cool.
it was a very cool experience. I'm very excited to keep it going and
Yeah.
see where it leads.
Went off without a hitch.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome, dude. So you have plans to do it again?
Yeah. So next, I think we're gonna do code names next week,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good
which is
idea.
now this week. You're listening.
Right.
Right. Yes.
Right,
This
right.
week. So this upcoming
Coming
Friday, we are gonna play code names. And
Sweet.
Is this going to be a weekly thing?
I hope so.
Potentially?
Yeah, I think part of it is she needs to be able to get some of her kids out of other classes to be able to come do
Right.
this. So if that can continue to go
That's
well,
so funny.
Yeah.
But I'm an AP chemistry. Get out
No,
of
get
here.
out.
It's time for
Come
board
play some
games.
playing
games.
board games. she knows what's important.
Yeah,
so she takes
for
them out. And so yeah, we'll keep going as long as we can kind of figure out times and be able to.
So
make
she
that
must
work.
have like an open hour that time.
She has some. Yeah, I'm not sure what she has the other day. Lydia, why don't you tell me what you have at the end of the day?
Yeah, because it's interesting that she's able to get
Like,
kids out
she's
of class.
teaching.
Because how long did you play medium for? Was it about an hour?
About an hour. Yeah.
That's cool.
It was great.
Did anybody ever get one correct?
Yes. There was like one got it on like probably their third try. Like, the
So that's as close as they got.
But it was just it wasn't even like they were just having so much fun.
That's awesome.
It's almost funnier when you get it wrong.
Yeah. 'Cause then you can laugh about it and you're like, I was gonna say that, or that's
Yeah,
a great
like,
answer, or that
what?
kind of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Why did you say
Yeah.
that?
Yes, last night we played it. We actually played medium last night,
it was
and and one of the two people that were guessing was actually Brian, the guy we were just talking about, and Heather, his girlfriend, and they were going, and they were not doing well. And one of the I can't remember what the clues was. One of the clue was bush, and the other clue was like forest or something. It was something like that.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the rug.
No.
sled
So
one.
one was bush and one was like forest, and Heather said Barbara,
I think it was florist.
and Brian said arborvitae.
Yeah, Barbara Bush.
Arborvitae. Like
Yeah.
they're both gonna say arborvitae.
Yeah,
at the same
exactly.
time.
That's a Brian. So
Yeah.
he's like, why wouldn't you say arborvitae? It's the worst bush. And she's like, well, I thought Barbara Bush. I'm like, so now how would you connect?
No, that was the last
It
one.
was, but I was like, I want to see them
Yeah.
go again.
Yeah.
To see them try to connect Barbara arborvitae.
I thought the funniest part was when they had rug and sled, and she said flying carpet, and he said Ollie's.
Which
And I
is
was
like a
I was
carpet
like, Ollie's
store.
like the discount? No, it's like kind of like a Big Lots.
Oh,
and
I
I was like,
idea.
why'd you say Ollie's? He's like, well, that's where we buy all our rugs. And I was
Made
like,
sense?
what?
That made sense.
Yeah, but what about the sled part?
Yeah, that doesn't make as much sense.
Yeah. Sometimes you just pick one of those words and you just
That happens
relate
a
to
lot.
one word.
You
It
just
happens a
hope
lot.
that your partner is like, come on, let's connect on bush.
Right. So then
Yeah.
she stuck with like the Aladdin theme and said Aladdin, and then he stuck with the Ollie's theme and said like clearance or something.
Yeah.
It was really
Well, then it was
funny.
like clearance Aladdin or discount Aladdin. I'm like, oh, they could just say Will Smith. He's like the discount genie.
Oh yeah.
From the old Aladdin. Didn't work that
funny.
way.
I think if we keep talking about Ollie's, maybe we'll get like a sponsor.
Sponsor us, Ollie's. I didn't even know
Hey,
what they
Ollie's.
did.
I don't even know if I've ever been to
I'm pretty
one.
sure it's like a Big Lots. I'm almost positive
Yeah,
that you're right. It's
yeah.
like Big Lots.
So it's just like a department store kind of thing that just sells everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like really cheap.
Yeah. Cheap prices. Shout out to Ollie's.
Ollie.
I don't even know. I don't know how
Are there
to.
Ollie's around here? I guess.
No.
To buy the
I've
rugs
never
there.
even
I
heard of
think
that
the
before.
only one I know
rugs
of
at
is like
Ollie's.
Farmington. Yeah.
Yeah. No, screw Ollie's. Big Lots for life. I've actually been to a Big Lot, so I have no idea. That's weird. That's awesome, dude.
Yes.
That's super cool that you guys did that.
That is cool.
Did you like you and her have like a wrap up session afterward, or like did you just kinda, like,
we
sign
messaged
off
each
and
other
goodbye?
on Instagram afterwards, and she said like kids couldn't stop talking about it, and my kids were really excited, and they were very excited for the next Friday to like
That's
play
awesome.
code names.
Is that all everyone did for the whole like hour and a half or
so
whatever?
there was only one group that was really focused on
Okay, so other people played other
medium.
games.
Yeah, so the other kids they played a bunch of monikers, which is always really fun, and
Yes,
yeah.
it's really fun.
and they've also played Draftosaurus, which you gave me.
Yep, cool.
Ryan, and
Little dinos.
they love that game.
I'm a
It
philanthropist.
goes over, yeah.
Just
It goes
like-
over really well. It's so
very
fast.
generous. Yeah.
I might have played it 3 or 4 times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely
Have they
a
done
good
both
game
sides?
for
They've
like,
done both sides, so they flipped it over and did the winter side.
Cool.
Yeah, the game's so simple.
yeah,
It is. It's super quick.
A good game for,
Have
like,
Have you thought? Have you
new
thought a bit
gamers.
around that problem that we found at Gen Con where one person can just get more turns?
Yeah,
than
so I
somebody
think
else?
if you play with 5, it's a problem. If you play with 3, it's not a problem because 3 everybody would get 2 exemptions on the
Okay.
dice roll.
Okay. Because I
But
remember that was
if-
one thing. Do you remember that? We were at
Yeah.
Gen Con and it was Jeff or Dave. Somebody got like extra turns and we were just kind of like, oh, like
Yeah,
that's
you get an
weird.
extra
Doesn't seem
exempt. So when you
fair.
roll the dice, you don't have to apply your dinosaur to that dice.
Yeah.
But if you have 3 people, everybody gets to do it twice. All we do is we just roll the dice and everybody has to put it in.
That's
that.
the way to do it.
Yeah.
That should be that should have been how it was in the rules, I think.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's sweet, man. Good for you. Good for Board Game Club.
Yeah.
Board Game Club's thriving.
trying new things.
Shout out Brittany Woods Middle School.
Doing new stuff like that, that's the way to keep it fresh and keep it going and keep it. I love that you're doing stuff like that. That's super awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah,
It's been
keep it
great.
going, man. So we talked again last episode. We pumped Jeff's brother, Board Gaming Madigan, on Instagram. His name's Joe. He did an extra life charity event at this church in Dearborn, Michigan, which doesn't matter to 90% of you listening, I would guess. A city in Michigan, and he went from midnight, basically on the 1st to midnight on the 2nd, right?
Yeah,
or I guess
midnight to midnight.
technically midnight the 2nd to midnight.
Yeah,
the
whatever.
3rd.
Midnight, like Friday night.
Yeah,
to
so he
midnight
did 20. He did
Saturday
20 a
night.
24-hour game-a-thon, and Jeff, Natalie, and I went. We were there for about 7 or 8 hours, I think, in total. right? Because you went even earlier than us, but we left a little later than you. Who cares?
Right, yeah.
So we were there about 7 or 8 hours. And we played a bunch of games, and it was a really cool time. There was a lot of people there. I did not expect to see all those people there. Joe had set a funding goal of $550 maybe, or $500, and he more than doubled that goal.
Yep, that's awesome.
Which was incredible. There was like this bowl of cash on the counter that was like, hey, if you like the snacks and like what we're doing, you can donate this way. You can just put money in the bowl. And so there was like, I only took out like 100 before I left.
Yeah, right.
So he still made it over 1,000. So I was really,
those weren't
that was
like
impressive.
gift bags, like to leave. You couldn't just take money on your way.
Oh. But it was,
Sorry, Joe. I think we owe you some money.
Oh, no, you're not getting it back, bro. You need to pay me for my good time. So there was a bunch of games that were raffled off. I didn't win any of those, so that's what the 100 was for.
I did.
As compensation.
You
of course
did?
you did. You did.
What'd you win?
I
you win?
won Bomb Squad Academy.
No way.
Nice.
Yes.
You've played that, haven't you?
I have. Bill has it.
Because Bill has it.
So I've played
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
it. Yeah.
That's
Sweet,
awesome.
man.
I had five or six tickets, and I put most of them in Mansions of Madness.
Yeah.
And I put one in Bomb Squad Academy.
And you won
I
Bomb Squad
Oh,
Academy.
cool. We had like 5 or 6 too, and we put them all in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All in Game of Thrones. We didn't win. Do you know who else won? Like, do you know anybody
I don't
else?
know.
Okay.
That's awesome.
That's sweet. It was
But yeah,
super cool.
he had tons of food set up for
there's
everybody.
games
Tons of
everywhere.
tables, games set up.
Yeah, there's a bunch of games set up when we got there. I told Joe I wanted to play. So the first game I want to talk about in the games we're talking about has to do with Extra Life. Actually, the few games, because not always does it happen where Natalie, Jeff, and I play games together. And that works for the show because we get to talk about more games that way. But it's more fun when because Jeff is like the best. Jeff and Dave and like Joe, all these guys are like the best to play games with, and we don't get to play games with them too often. So this Extra Life charity event was a great opportunity to actually play with the mad board gamer himself,
All right.
Jeffrey Jumpin' Bones. Mad
Yeah,
again.
and sometimes for the show, it's cool that we play different games.
It is cool.
But for life,
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
And
more fun to play
I would
together.
say,
Yeah.
I have to do the math, but I would say we do life more often than the show.
yeah, I would agree.
It's hard. I don't know. Math is hard, but yeah. So I would rather play games with you.
Agreed.
than not. So the first game we played, I've been telling Natalie, I've been pumping this game up for years. It's called Defenders of the Realm. It's basically a pandemic clone in a fantasy kind of setting, designed by Richard Launius, the man himself. Side note about Richard Launius, I've played Attraction with him at Grand Con. Did I ever tell you that? I don't know if
I
you
think
know.
you have.
So I told Joe, I was like, yeah, because he asked me before the event, he's like, are there any games you want me to have set up for you? And so I was like, if you could set up Defenders of the Realm, that'd be freaking cool. And so he did. And so when we got there, that was one of the many games that Joe had set up at various tables. It was pretty impressive walking in, seeing all the, like, Everdell was set up at one table,
Yeah.
Defenders is set up. He had Seventh Continent at another table, and then there's a bunch of tables with just, loose games everywhere. He had Jeff Madigan set up at one table eating Taco Bell. I sat there first and played that one. That was fun.
Yeah.
And so
We played Subway.
Yeah, we played Subway. We played the Subway card. Jeff beat us. So we sit down in Defenders of the Realm. It was a game that, again, I've wanted Natalie to play for many years. And we played Pandemic before,
Yeah,
and you
a couple
liked
times. Yeah.
So it's one of my favorite games, and I don't own it because Bill had it, and we played it like 15 times, like in the early days of gaming, and I just never got around to getting it, so that's why we had never played it. So we sat down, Jeff, Natalie, and I sat down for a 3-player game, and we crushed it into a fine powder.
Yes.
It was such a exciting play, that game, because we were just stomping all these generals' faces. If you don't know Defenders of the Realm, it's like I said, it's just a pandemic clone. So in this one, instead of the diseases ravaging the world, it's 4 generals, and if they get to the center location on the board, any one of them gets there, you lose. Or if you have to pull minions from the minion pile, any one of the 4 minion piles, and you can't, you lose. Or there's these little taint crystals, and if all the taint crystals, what's that?
Tainted.
No, taint.
I don't think that's
Well, the
what
land becomes tainted from the taint.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man.
But the crystals themselves are called taint crystals. Mm-hmm. Taint anything else. I'm not going to go further into that. Like, I really, really want to. So if all the lands become tainted and all those taint crystals are gone, then you lose
Why are
the
you
game.
emphasizing
I
it?
know.
I'm sorry. I like to have my taint at GJ's Diner in
University
City, Missouri.
University City.
So we played, we conquered. It was great. There's the components are a lot cooler in Defenders of the Realm because there's miniatures involved and stuff like that. Where instead of Pandemic, it's just cubes, you know. So I love the game. I mean, I could talk about the game forever. I know Jeff likes the game a lot.
Yes.
But Natalie, I've been waiting for years for you. Let's hear what you thought of Defenders of the Realm.
Well, don't be mad at me.
Uh-oh.
Wait, why would I be mad at you?
Because this might be Natalie's last episode. She didn't like it.
Right. I thought the
just cut her
game
mic
was
off.
good, not great. Okay, well, let me start off by saying I think I did like it better than Pandemic. But
I didn't know you didn't like Pandemic that much.
well, we've only played it twice.
Defend yourself of the realm.
Okay. Those kind of games are not my favorite kind of games. I like more Euro games, and it's kind of like the games where like your only moves are just moving and then killing, and that's like basically your two options. It's kind of not that exciting for me.
You were gonna say boring, and you held off. Not being mean. She's like, it's kind of
Not that
super exciting.
So I mean, it was cool. I mean, like there's no games that I won't play. There's just games that I like better than other games. And so I had a good time, but I would say it's good, not great for me. And but I mean, there were exciting moments in it, like at the end where we won right before we would have lost on the next turn. That kind of stuff's
very
fun.
next turn.
I know.
Jeff flipped the rabbit cam
like
the
that
card,
was exciting and that was fun.
Us.
But like the majority of the game, it was just like moving around. Like, I'm gonna move here. Now I'm gonna kill this. I'm gonna move here. Now I'm gonna kill
I
this.
get
And
that
it's kind of like,
completely. I completely understand that. For me, it's all about the exciting moments that game creates.
Yeah.
Because you're right. The mechanisms, when you boil down to it, it's just I move, I roll dice to attack,
Right.
I succeed,
So I'd say
or
like
I don't,
that's the con
and then
for
I move
me.
again.
But the
I
exciting
get
moments
that's
that
boring.
potentially could happen are the pros.
For
And then
some reason in
kind of-
that game, the exciting moments seem to happen every play. For me, with that game,
Yeah.
I love like, okay, Jeff's over here, I'm over here. We have to, as a team, figure out, how can we all get to the green general by next turn, avoiding, all these darkness spreads cards that are going to ravage us before we get there, keeping our cards in our hands so we can
Right.
play them. Like, that's where the excitement comes from me too, because I can see how you would look at it where it's like, I'm just moving my
Right.
movement points.
Well, I mean,
I'm just rolling dice.
I play like Mansions of Madness, and that's like kind of similar. You're mostly just like moving and killing, I guess, or like trying to hurt the monsters or kill the monsters. But there's also more stuff that makes it exciting than just those like two things.
For sure.
There's puzzles.
You also have to
and
understand
there's
Defenders of the Realm is
exploring.
very old.
I know.
Right.
Oh, I
So
know.
it's based on the pandemic system, which is old.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
okay, very old is relative, right? It's not super old, but we're looking at, when did pandemic come out? 2008? Maybe even earlier than that. Yeah, I'm not even sure. But it's been out for, well over 10 years.
Yeah.
Mansions of Madness, the original edition, I guess it came out a while ago too, so that did have similar stuff in it. But the second edition feels like a nice shiny new car.
Yeah.
Where you play Defenders of the Realm and you're kind of like going back into
when
your
I get like
your
you
Ford
played, you said you
Probe
played
from the
this a
90s.
whole bunch like a long time ago.
Yeah.
And so it's like
Yeah, maybe
has,
it's
like,
got some special
sentimental-
sentiment to me.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
How do you
Could be
feel about
like-
it, Jeff?
Well, it could be like that movie that you see growing up for a long time, and then when you watch it as an adult, you're like, okay, it's good. Or when you show it to someone who has never seen it,
Yeah,
as
they're
an
like,
adult,
ugh.
they're like,
what
this
is
kinda
this?
stupid.
Like
Yeah.
that special
The
place.
Sandlot is written. No, Sandlot's always good.
Yeah.
Always good.
There's no not.
I
like
think
Sandlot.
I think the exciting part of the game, and I agree with Natalie that moving your guy to a spot, your person to a spot, and rolling a dice is like, okay, yes, that's the game, but I think the greatness of the game is in between turns when you're flipping darkness spread cards and you have that tension of where are the minions going to go?
That's true.
Is the boss going to move? What cards am I going to get in my hand? How do we then get to this place? Who's going to start the fight against the general? And then the rolling against the general is exciting. But yeah, I never thought about it that way, but I think that, Natalie, I agree with that. Like, your turn itself is not exciting.
Yeah.
But I think in between and the interactions, because it's co-op,
Right.
Right, the mechanisms
more
are.
Yeah, you're right.
But they're all the different ways you could potentially lose. Toward the middle game, they start coming together in a real way where you get scared. Like Jeff said, when you draw the Darkness Spreads card, you're like, oh God, this is going to make this town overrun. And now we have 6 minions coming out of the board.
Right.
And those tank crystals are going out there. And oh no, we only have 3 left in our pool. And there's only 4 minions of this color left. And we still have to get to the general that's over there. And we have the most cards to get to that general. But that general's not even really threatening us too much. So it's like, should we go heal the land first a little bit to help us out? But is that going to take too much time? And other stuff's going to taint. And then these minions are going to overrun. And we have to go, if we kill that general, then all of a sudden you have the power. You can walk through these spaces and kill these minions one by one. You know, so that's what I love about it, is figuring out when to do what you
That
need
might be
to
my
do.
favorite part, is like working together, figure out like our plan of action.
And I'll say this, typically that game goes worse than our game. We did pretty
we did well.
We had a pretty easy time.
Yeah, I don't know if you win that game. Do you think you win that game half the time?
Maybe
Maybe a little less. It's definitely not more than half.
it's harder than we made it seem.
We were one bad roll away and we would have lost.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Next
We
turn.
barely
And we were
won.
one card flip away from losing. So even that, I felt like we had an easy time. But anyway, so that's Defenders of the Realm. Great, awesome game for me. Natalie didn't seem to like it as much. Jeff, I didn't really totally get your thoughts. You like that still?
Oh yeah, I like it.
didn't-
It's I think because I played it so early in my gaming career.
Yeah, it's cemented.
It's cool.
Yeah.
And I like the theme a lot better than Pandemic. I don't really fighting diseases is okay, but I like the theme of like fighting the minions and protecting Monarch City.
Yeah.
I like that a lot better.
Yeah, for sure. Agreed. So then after that game, we played another game I've been wanting Natalie to play for long heaping amounts of time. And this is a game called Galaxy Trucker by CGE. And this one's designed by Vlada Chvátil.
Yep.
Vlada. I think that's actually how you pronounce it.
I think
too.
it's right.
it's Vlada Chvátil. So we talked about Vlada on the last episode. We've talked about Vlada a lot in the past.
We talked about a
and
lot of things.
I've talked about. Oh my god. Son of a. Okay. You just threw me completely off track with that. Yeah, we have talked about Vlada.
a lot of things. Well, while Ryan's composing himself, you're curious. He made code names. He's
my
a designer of code names.
Yes. And that Moose Bunny game.
Moose Bunny.
Yep. So he's
Code
made a lot.
names, Moose
He's-
Bunny. Yeah, he's also he's done
big
Dungeon
name
Lords,
now in
Dungeon
games.
Pets. He's done Through the Ages. He's done what's that real time one that we
Galaxy
never play? The real time game that your friend bought that we've never
Space
Space Alert.
Alert.
He done
Yeah,
Space
Space
Alert.
Alert. Oh, I
yeah,
think- that's
he
over
does.
there.
So he's done a lot. This guy he's one of the best designers, I think. We've actually talked about Galaxy Trucker on the show, but way long ago in the days of Jeremy. Back in
Hey, Jeremy.
It was BJ back then.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It was actually
before.
BN.
BN.
It was BN too. Yeah, it was it was a DJ, but it was during Jeremy.
Oh, yeah.
It was era 1 of the Gamecasters. So in this game, this is a real-time game where basically you are just grabbing a ton of tiles from the middle of the table and trying to build your spaceship Carcassonnean style. The tiles have to match the other tiles, and you're trying to build the best spaceship, and that's the first half of the game. And in the second half of the game, you're taking that spaceship that you just built, and you built it in a very hurried and quick fashion. So it's typically not built the greatest, and then you take that spaceship in the second half and you fly it through space and you navigate the space of you're dealing with aliens and asteroids and satellites that you have to like go and search and get resources for, and it's really crazy and chaotic, kind of in the same way of Chaosmos or Cosmic Factory or Nine Tiles Panic. It's got that same kind of thing where you're just like feverishly grabbing tiles from the center of the table and putting them together to create something meaningful and good. And that game for me is it's one of my favorites. I've played that game again probably a dozen to 15 times, and every play of it is always just funny. Because usually, and again, in the play that we just played it with you, Natalie, it didn't happen so much. A lot of times it happens where you build your ship and you don't realize, and all of a sudden you build it and you're going into the next level and you're like, if this one tile gets hit by an asteroid, 10 more tiles are just destroyed from my ship, and it's just good. And that happens, and then it happens, and it's like, boom, there's the one thing. Oh, I just lost 10 seconds of the ship, and then you're like, ah! So it's a great real time game that's got a lot of just a lot of emotional swings in it. You can get really, really like pissed off and frustrated, and then the next minute you're like, oh, things aren't so bad. Okay, this is great. So, what did you think about Galaxy Trucker? Your first play.
So I'm going to start off by saying I did not do very well this game, but I think it was because it was a learning game for me. The first round, I was still a bit confused as to what each piece did and how it would play out.
Yeah, there's a lot.
When going on a space run. And then I think I didn't quite grasp what you needed to do well. but
that
watching
money.
yeah, watching how the game played out and what the the other players did helped me a lot, and I would really like to play it again. Another time now that I like kind of know what I'm doing.
Sure.
But I did like it. It was just clearly a learning game for me. Like I didn't really know what I was doing.
Did it remind you of those other games that we've played, or was it? Because until I had played Chaosmos, there was really nothing that I've ever played like Galaxy
you were right. It did remind me of Chaosmos and like Nine Tiles Panic.
Sure.
You're just grabbing stuff, and then depending on what you got and where you put it, you get points.
Yep.
It's just a little more in-depth.
There's more to it.
Yeah.
There's more gaminess to it.
So I gave it a 7.5 with potential to go up.
Really?
Yes.
Holy cow. Jeff, what do you think about Galaxy Trucker? You've played Galaxy Trucker a handful of times now.
Yes, I like Galaxy Trucker, but I know what Natalie is feeling because I think that the first time I played Galaxy Trucker,
Same
I had a
thing
miserable
happened.
time.
Yeah.
Because, yes, one part of my ship got hit. I'm just like flying off
feels
into
bad.
space. I can't do
yeah.
anything. I probably ended the game with like 10 points.
Yeah.
And if you've never played the game, somewhere 50 plus is like a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
So I
I had
probably
like
had about
33,
10.
which was like half of what everyone else had.
So I think it has a steep learning curve at the beginning.
Yeah, well,
because we know
yeah.
exactly what we're looking for. We know I
How
know
to
what
build
every
it.
tile looks like.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just whether I'm going to find it or not, or whether it's going to fit on my ship is up to me and how I build it. But I
Right.
know. So when your first game, you're like, all right, is this a battery? What does this do again?
Yeah,
You're
that's what
thinking about all
I'm
that
picking it up,
stuff.
and I'm like, I don't remember what this does. I'll
But I
just put
should
it
probably
here.
have it, I
And then
guess,
at the
yeah.
end, you were kind of like, ooh, you shouldn't have done those things. And I was like, oh, whoops.
Yeah. 'Cause if you've never played it
Yeah.
before, you need like missiles, or you need, what are those things called? Guns,
Yeah,
like
lasers.
laser guns to
Yep.
shoot
Right.
asteroids.
Yep.
You need to
You
have
need engines
workers
to just fly through
You
the
need
space.
engines to fly.
You can't leave
need-
open like connectors.
Yeah, so everything's got to be connected properly. So it's a lot to think about, and if you have to think about that plus
Yeah, you're being
what
timed.
everything actually is,
Right.
and then when someone grabs that first marker and says "I'm done," then now you're on a timer.
Yep,
So
the
once
timer
first
flips.
person's done, they grab that little thing and they flip a timer over, and everybody needs to be done by then, and that's the high anxiety. You're
Yeah.
scrambling.
Yeah.
You're just flipping. You're grabbing tiles and pulling them in. I always have fun playing the game now that I understand the
Yes.
game more. Like,
Yes, I can
And not
totally
even
see
just
that.
mechanically. You have to kind of like your mindset of what, like when you're first starting to play the game, I could see you wanting to take it seriously.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you shouldn't take the game seriously, but you have to kind of understand the flow of this game and how it's meant, what the game was intended to be. And if you take it too seriously, I can like I probably do with Broom Service, you're going to have a terrible time.
Game of the year.
If you're just getting angry, like, oh my God, this stuff's blowing
Yeah,
up and I
I
just
can
lost, 15 space
understand
bucks.
that, yeah.
yeah,
1200 bucks.
1200 bucks.
I can see that pissing you off. So, not even just mechanically. I think Jeff's right. I think there's a steeper learning curve than you would think because the game's not that heavy. But
no.
the artwork on the tiles is so like blah, so they all look so crazy. Everything looks crazy.
Yeah.
So you're like, what is that thing again?
Yeah,
with the little
I remember
jagged
the first
green
one I'm
things?
picking up. I'm like, I don't know what this is. Is it this or this one? I don't know.
Right.
I'm like looking around.
Yeah, they all look crazy and zany and weird. And like Jeff said, you've played it when we played it a bunch. You know what every single tile looks like, what it
Right.
does, what it means, and how
Yeah.
it connects together.
Yes.
So that's
So is that one that would not be that fun with two?
yeah. I don't
That's what
really.
I
I
thought.
mean,
I can't see it being the same.
it wouldn't be quite as good. You
Yeah.
could still play it. I don't think it would be bad if we played it together. But I think we want 3 or
Yeah.
even 4 is better. Well, actually, we did play it with 4 because Ben joined
Yeah,
us.
4 was
right?
great.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Does-
Ben joined us.
And
does,
Ben's played it a whole bunch, so it's
Okay.
been,
Yeah, that's one of his favorites. That's
Does
actually why
Jeremy
we
like
played
that
it.
game?
I think so. Yeah, because Jeremy and I talked about it on the show a few years ago. So yeah, Jeremy does like that game.
Yeah.
Not that we play games with you anymore, Jeremy. Come back to us,
Yeah,
please.
Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Thought you were gonna play games again.
Jeremy. So that's Galaxy Trucker. So then, after Galaxy Trucker, well, Jeff had got the new hotness
new hotness
from Days of Wonder.
Ooh,
Jeff, do you want to
baby.
tell us about this next game we played?
This is Days of Wonder's game this year.
Yeah, they put out one
Their
game
one
a year,
game.
One game a year.
typically.
And so previously, their games were Small World is maybe their biggest.
Well, they did Memoir as well.
Oh yeah, Memoir.
Memoir 44 is
They do
big.
Quadropolis?
Yep,
Quadropolis, 5 tribes.
5 tribes.
And then last year they had the River, which was
They also
their
did
one.
Yamatai
Yamatai. Yep, that was in between. Oh yeah, that was in between Quadropolis and
and the River. Yeah.
So this year they have a game called Deep Blue. And Deep Blue is a game where you are ship captains and you're going from shipwreck to shipwreck and sunken cities trying to find treasure.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it's definitely a pressure luck game at heart.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
a pressure luck
Yeah,
game
for sure.
with a little bit of like hand management, deck building sort of in the background.
Right.
And so the map is the board is a gigantic map of sunken cities and sunken ships.
Beautiful, by the way.
Yeah, the art is
Days
very
of Wonder,
cool.
of course. That's what if they put out one
Yes.
game a year, they usually
It's
put out a
very
game with
nice looking.
beautiful art, great components, high quality.
Yeah. And on your turn, you have cards in your hand, and you can either buy new crew members. So each card has a value of some money on it. You can use that to hire new crew members to add to your hand. You can move your ship along these different paths to go to the different
Like wrecks.
shipwrecks and
Yeah.
different wrecks. Or on your turn, you can start a dive, which is where the pressure luck part comes in the game, which
Yeah.
is where the fun comes in the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when you dive, you're the leader. So someone initiates the dive and says, I'm going to dive. And what's cool about this game is that if you are near the dive within one space, your boat is within one space, you can join. So you can move your boat
And
onto
you like
that.
rush towards it or
Yeah,
something.
you can rush toward it and you can join in the dive. And the leader is in charge, and the leader has a bag of gems. And they reach in and they pull out gems one at a time. And the gems are worth a certain amount of points.
They're just
and-
different colors, right?
Different colors,
just
yeah.
a
There's
bunch of-
there's a bunch of different colors, and so they're either worth points or they're hazards. So you're either running out of air or it's like a
yeah, like sea
creature.
monsters are coming
Creatures
to
coming to get you.
Oh, right.
So you want to avoid the bad ones and you want to get treasure. And everyone on the dive is going to get points for all the treasure that's getting pulled out. But the leader is the one in charge of when to stop, or should they keep going? Are they going
Right.
to keep pulling? And as they're pulling the gems out, the cards in your hand, the crew members that you've hired, can give you bonus points for all those gems that have been being pulled, which is very cool. So you can keep playing these cards. You might want to influence someone else to keep going because you're getting more points for something. Or as the leader, you might look around and everyone else is getting more points than you because they have more cards. So
Yeah.
you're like, we're done.
I'm done.
We're
Which
going
is what I
now.
should have done at the end. I was the leader on the very last dive, and I was like, I'm pretty sure Ben and I are close in points. I thought at the time I was lower than him, but I was wrong. And so I was the leader of the dive, and I pulled out a gold. So a gold is worth like 3 points. All right. So I pulled out 1 gold, and I was like, okay, I'm getting 3 points. I know Ben had a handful of cards, and you can talk about what the cards do in a minute. But I was worried that he was going to play a card to give him more points, and so my first initial thought was, I'm going to stop right now, and because I would end the game over. If I think I have more points than him, I win and game's over. But I didn't, and so I kept going, and I drew more gold, and then he put a card down and gave him all these points. Anyway, so go ahead, Jeff. Sorry.
No, that's good. So the cards, I'll talk to your point of the card. The cards there are certain gems in the bag. There's like a green one, a pink one, a red one that will do nothing for you unless you have one of the crew members that get points. And so if you reach into the bag and you pull out a red one, no one might get points for that. But if you have the red crew member in your hand, you can play that. And then you're the only one getting points for that gem.
And what
that
I
got
think is
pulled.
cool is you can play the card after you see the gem.
Yes.
So you don't have to
Yeah.
like, I'm just
That
gonna
is cool.
I'm gonna play my card now and hopefully it works out. You can wait. So I like that. I think that's cool.
Yeah, and there's also the crew members that will protect you from the big monsters so the fighting. They'll give you the fight power so you can keep going on the dive, because if you get to a point where you don't have enough air or can't protect from the monster, you have to surface and you don't get any points for the round. The other crew members, the other people can keep going on the dive and you're out because you don't have the
Yeah.
Right. So you
ability
have
to
some
keep
cards to
going.
combat that.
Yeah. That's all surrounded around the press your luck mechanism.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
So then you play until there's 4 sunken cities that need to get found, and we ended up, I think, playing almost every other.
Every tile
All
just
the tiles.
worked out that way.
Oh, right.
And then, so you get points, you get these little cardboard tokens, and what's great is Days of Wonder, of course, high production value. You get, each player gets this little treasure chest that
yes.
opens up, and you can
Yeah,
put your
that's
stuff
so
into
cool.
it.
Yeah.
And so you keep everything
Yeah, they could have just given you a little
Like a shield.
like a player
Yeah.
screen.
yeah, player screen.
know,
but
and
the
it
little
would've been
treasure box, it's
way
like
cooler.
plastic. Like
Yeah,
you put your little coins
it's very
in.
cool.
It's awesome.
Well, they're trying to
yeah.
get that Spiel des Jahres. That's what they're trying
That's
to
what
do.
you're trying to do.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do? You want me to tell me what I think?
Tell
or-
us what you
Yeah.
think.
What do you think about it?
So, the beginning, I think I was not having a ton of fun. I think we dove too early on our first 2 dives.
Agreed.
As the game continues, there'll be more gems added to the bag, and you get a higher probability of getting good things instead of bad things. And I
You
think
get
our
more
first two
cards.
dives were, and you get more cards. The first two dives were kind of lame, where we pulled.
We also have bad luck.
Yeah, we had bad
Yeah.
luck.
We
We
pulled-
pulled, the oxygen thing twice, and you're like, all right, well, now we don't get anything. And
Yep,
we did it a
bust.
couple times. I'm like, man, I hope the game doesn't continue to be like this. And it wasn't. And the game got better and better, I feel like, through the game. And for how
Yeah.
much bad luck I had, because I was pulling terrible things. I had the lowest points by far. But just watching everyone go on the dives and pulling these gems and deciding whether or not you're going to keep going, the game got more and more fun as it continued. And I liked it. I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to when I bought it and through the first 20 minutes of it.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm going to agree with you in pretty much everything you said. The first we started playing the game, you taught us the rules, and I wasn't confused at the rules, but I was kind of like, what am I supposed to do? Like on my first turn, it came around to me. I was third. Ben went first, I think, then Natalie, and you guys both like bought a card, and I was kind of like, is that what I should do? I don't know what I should do. Like and I was kind of like, oh man, is this going to fall
No,
into?
you were before me.
Was I?
Because remember, I kept
I
copying
think I went
your
first,
move.
but you were still third.
Okay,
I think
maybe
it
you
was
went
Yeah,
first.
you were
Yeah,
third,
yeah.
yeah.
I just remember thinking like, oh man, I don't know. Like you guys seem like you know what you're doing. I don't think I have any clue. And I was like, oh man, am I going to have a hard time with this? And then as you play, obviously it gets so much like, oh. And I think to your point, Jeff, the reason that we had the kind of a rough time at the beginning is none of us knew the flow of the game.
Yeah.
And what to do when and how to do it, because the first two dives were busts instantly, and that's the meat of the game.
Right.
And so when you have two busts at the beginning and outside of the game, it's boring. It kind of
Right.
sucked because the game hinges upon that press your luck mechanism, which came out in spades later on in the game. What I liked about it is I love the push your luck mechanism. And that's one of I really love push your luck as a general rule, other than Quacks of Quedlinburg, which I love. I do love it, but that game drives me. Oh! And here I think here's why. Because I busted in this game a couple times, and it hurt. But I think this game probably lasts a half hour.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
I think we played it again.
It's,
to be
it's light enough to.
Yeah, you'll
not-
play. Your first play is going to be about 45 minutes, maybe, but it could still, the way the game ends, you could luck into the game taking 20 minutes. And for me, when I'm thinking about push your luck, and I talked about this at the thing when we talked about it after, when you're playing a push your luck game like Ink and Gold or something like that, where Ink and Gold is the entire game is press your luck. That's all you're literally doing. It takes 15 minutes and then you're done. If you have a terrible play, because push your luck can elicit these terrible plays, it doesn't hurt as badly when you're playing Ink and Gold because the game is over so quickly.
Yeah.
And to contrast that, in a game like Quacks of Quedlinburg, you can have bad luck last, and the game takes like an hour and a half. For a game like Quacks of Quedlinburg, which is a nice big meaty game, which is awesome. They made an amazing, cool game around the pressure luck mechanism, but your feelings can be hurt for longer, and it can be frustrating for longer. What I like about Deep Blue is it splits the difference between these two games, where Ink and Gold is super quick, maybe almost a little bit. You kind of want a little bit more at the end of the day. There's not enough meat on the bones that you're going to put it in any, favorite games lists, maybe, and it's a good filler, right? And Quacks Quedlinburg is, like a much longer meaty game. Deep Blue splits the difference and says, okay, I'm going to give you more than you have in Ink and Gold, but I'm not going to take as much time as you're going to take in Quacks of Quedlinburg. So this game, it feels kind of right in the sweet spot of what I want a press your luck with a little bit more game to be. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I had a good time with it. What do you think?
I agree with you guys. I really enjoyed it. I found myself, you enjoy a game when you get like really into it and you care a lot. And there was a few times there I got really into dives that I wasn't even a part of.
Yeah. Do you remember that? With Ben?
Yeah,
You're like,
with Ben.
Ben, what are you doing? And
I
we're
know,
just like,
I was
"What?"
getting so stressed out. And I was like, what are you doing? You're getting this many points. You're going to bust. You need those points. Stop right now. And he's like, I'm not going to stop. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? And Ryan's like, you're not even in on this dive. What do you care? I was like, I don't know. I'm so stressed out. So, like, you're having a fun time and you know that you like the game when that kind of stuff happens.
Absolutely.
So I agree. I thought it was really fun. And it's funny because I always used to say I don't like press your luck games.
Yeah. These
But
are
I
two.
really like
There's
this
two
game.
now.
I really like Quacks of Quedlinburg. And now I'm starting to think maybe it's the fact that I don't like press your luck games that are only press your luck. Like
Yeah.
Ink and Gold
Both
or
of these
Can't
have more
Stop.
stuff.
I like it when you have more information to go on. Like Ink and Gold, it's kind of just, do I stay in or do I go out based on what cards are out? But I think with Deep Blue and Quacks of Quedlinburg, it's more like, I know how many gems are in the bag. I know how many points I'm getting. If I do this, is it worth losing those points? There's a little more to it. And so I could feel like I can make a better decision.
Yeah, you have cards you can mitigate.
Right. So I think I'm liking that mechanism more if there's more to the game.
Yeah.
Because I really, really liked this game and I really like Quacks of Quedlinburg. But
That's super cool. I'm right in the
Good
middle
time.
of developing, potentially developing. I don't want to commit myself to a Gamecasters rating system.
I know.
So we don't have anything in place yet, but so we'll just do the feeling through 10. Jeff, what would you rate this game if you could on a 1 to 10 scale?
So, we've had all these debates of what a 1 through 10 scale looks like.
Yep.
We
Just
won't get into all of it.
No, just do whatever
Just
you
do
feel.
the regular
do what
old
you
way.
feel.
All right, I'm gonna give you 2. At the beginning, I was set in like 6.5, 7. The
Yep.
first couple minutes, I was like, this is not. And then by the time it escalated, and again, I did very poorly in this game, and I would say for me it's an 8.
That's
Awesome.
And I think I left there with a 7.5. I was like, it's a 7.5, and I think
Yeah.
I've slept on it and thought about it, and I love Natalie's point of like it's got a little more strategy than these other games where you're just like blindly pulling things or doing stuff.
Right,
You can
rolling
mitigate
a
a lot
dice
of the
or-
randomness with some other things.
Yes.
And so I'm gonna give it an 8.
Amazing.
about
That's
you?
8 is great. Great 8. I'm right there at an 8. 7.5 to 8 is where I kind of where I think this sits for me. I agree. I almost echo what Jeff said exactly. The first few turns, I was kind of like, no, I'm not. Nah, this is. I don't think
we all
this is
felt like
working
this.
out.
It was just kind of quiet. We were just like,
Yeah, I was like, I'm just not having fun.
But then it really
looks
ramped
beautiful,
up.
and I don't get it totally why this is. I'm like, and then like all of a sudden in one turn we had like an amazing dive, and I was like, okay,
and we're all yelling. And
I
like,
see
no,
how
no,
this
stop,
is working
keep going,
out.
Keep
Well,
going.
and also because when Jeff had a turn where he was in the dive, but me and Ben were like killing it on gems, but all of a sudden Jeff, like a gem comes out and Jeff plays like card, and the next turn Jeff plays a card, and then Jeff plays a card, and and so he does that, and I'm like, oh, that's a whole different strategy to the dive. He's not caring as much about what I pull out. There was a couple turns where if you remember, you were like, I don't care what happens. I'm making 15 points right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you can do whatever you want. Keep going. I don't care. Bust. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. I'm still getting my
and
points.
so that was really cool. There was multiple aspects of the push your luck. It wasn't like Ink and Gold or Can't Stop or even Quacks Quedlinburg. We're all doing it together, and it's going to happen. If somebody busts, well, I guess Quacks isn't the same way either. But in Ink and Gold and Can't Stop, if you bust, you're done, and then you know what I mean. This one has multiple ways to game the press your luck mechanism. So I liked that a lot. I think it sits between, like I said, 7.5 and 8 for me. It's better than Good Not Great for sure.
Yeah.
I have to play it again to see if it really cements itself into like an amazing, like, wow, I really love this game. But right now I would play it again and be happy about it for sure.
Yeah.
What about
Yeah. I 100% agree with you. I wrote down 7.5. Now that we're talking about it, I'm kind of like excited. I want to say 8, but I agree with you. I think like another play maybe would cement that 8, but I liked it a lot. There was something else I was going to say, but I forgot.
Awesome. Nice. You'll think of it like right after we stop.
I know.
Yeah, after we're off air.
So check it out. It's good.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Oh
game.
yeah, I was
Very
going to
cool game,
say
Deep Blue.
another point about the game was like a little different than a lot of the other press your luck games is that it's like Quacks of Quedlinburg, when you're pulling tokens out of the bag, it's only for your own benefit or demise, and like this one, like other people can benefit from this, or maybe you could like lose out and other people could still benefit, and so that kind of changes how you make the decision of whether to keep going or not.
Sure.
And
and
that's
I
pretty
think
cool.
You were, you saying that you were invested in a dive that what you weren't even a part of, but that was the fun thing where I'm like, yeah, Ryan, why don't you pull another one?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
pull another one. Just
Yeah.
go ahead. You can't possibly bust.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay.
But then if he does it,
maybe I
you're
will.
trying to
Yeah.
like get other people to maybe do something you want them to
Right.
do. So that was fun.
And it's quick enough where, like you said, you didn't do that great in the game, and you're not just sitting there the whole game like, well, I can't win. I'm screwed.
Yeah.
Normally
Right.
I feel like in this game it's like, okay, I gotta wait about 20 minutes, and we could play it again, and I could do completely different. Again, where I can see if it went a lot longer, that would be more of an issue.
Right.
So I think the game length is perfect for this one.
Do you plan on playing this with Board Game Club?
Yes,
I can definitely see this as like a game
they'll love it.
for them. Yeah.
They'll love it.
I like how now pretty much every single game we play or talk about, we go back to like, I think this would be good for your kids.
Yeah.
Like this might not be great for our group, but I think it's really good for your kids. So I think that's really cool. Jeff, do you have any games you'd like to talk about that you've been playing?
We played, on Monday night, we played a game called Homebrewers. And Homebrewers is a game by Matthew O'Malley and Ben Rossett. And Ben Rossett has apparently made 2 beer games.
Oh, is that the Brewcrafters guy?
He is Brewcrafters.
Oh, you've played that one
And
too, right?
I haven't played Brewcrafters.
Oh, okay.
Brewcrafters is a heavier...
Doesn't Bill have that?
Bill has
Yeah.
it. They played it at
Okay.
Nerdfest last
Okay,
year.
yeah. I thought Homebrewers was Brewcrafters.
Yeah, but it's the same guy. I'm not sure if Matthew O'Malley was on it, but Greater Than Games publishes it, and which is
Yeah, Greater Than
They're
Games is
killing
great.
it.
Yeah, they're always
doing
good.
great.
Yeah, they got good stuff.
they did Medium, which we played 500 miles away.
Yeah, they did.
And yeah, so Ben Rossett apparently likes beer and board games. And
Yeah.
so
It's two
in
favorite
Homebrewers,
A lot of people do.
Yeah. True.
yeah, like I feel like half the people I follow on Instagram are playing board games, and then it's
While
also
drinking?
like, yeah, it's like a beer and a board
Here's
game.
what I'm drinking while I play this board game.
And it's never like Twilight Struggle. In it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, so you're homebrewers, shockingly, in the game called Homebrewers, which means you are like just people who are brewing beer in your house. And the theme of the game is you're trying to make the most creative, unique beer. And halfway through the game, you bring your beers to Oktoberfest, and then at the end of the game, you bring it to Summerfest or vice versa, whatever. And you get judged on how creative and unique your beers are. So that's kind of the theme. How the game works, it's very light. It's not... Brewcrafters is heavy.
Okay.
I think Brewcrafters on Board Game Geek rating was like a 3.25.
Oh, okay.
This one's probably hovers in that like just over a 2 range.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. So it's quick.
Yeah.
So simultaneously, everybody rolls 3 dice, and the dice have six sides and 6 faces, and they give you the actions that you're going to do on your turn. So on your turn, the actions are you can take ingredient cards, and the ingredient cards are something you would add to each beer. So you have 4 different beers that you're brewing. You're brewing a porter, an IPA, an ale, and a stout.
Is it like a roll and write?
It's not.
Okay.
There's no writing.
Okay. You just get actions.
You get the actions. Yeah. So you would take ingredients, and each ingredient is stuff like bacon or chives or honey. So it's whatever you would want to put in a beer.
Sure.
And then, so that action, you take the ingredient card and you would hold it in your hand, or you can add it to whichever beer you want. You can get wheat, and you have to have wheat in the beer in order to wheat. So you get wheat in order to brew the beers, and you can clean out your containers is one of the options to do. And then the last biggest one that you want to do the most is brew your beer.
Sure.
So you pick one of the beers that has a wheat token on it, and each ingredient that you have added to that beer gives you something. So it says, all right, you get to move up 1 extra space on your on that beer's track, or you get an extra $1, or you get to take an extra turn. So it gives you powers.
Does going up the tracks equate to points?
Yeah, so going up the tracks is when you bring your beer to the Summerfest or Oktoberfest, you get judged on how far you up are in each tracks.
Oh, cool.
So there's a little bit of engine building to it ish, where because you're brewing those beers, every time you brew it, you get all those actions for each of the ingredient cards that are there.
Sure.
So it's almost like you might want to focus on a couple beers instead of like spreading it out.
I'm bad at that.
Yeah, you want to just put one each.
She wants to do everything,
Yeah.
which is why you got to play Agricola, because you got to do everything in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's fun. It played really quickly. I think we played it in about 40 minutes. We played it in under an hour with explanations.
Would you play it again?
Okay.
I would play it again. Yeah. During
good
it, I was frustrated because a little bit you're at the mercy of the dice roll. So you have 3 dice, and you're like, all right, well, I didn't want that. But you can trade. You can say, all right, I want to trade this dice for someone. You just trade amongst the table. Like, anybody want...
Oh, you can
anybody wanna
trade with
brew
people.
beer?
Oh, I like that.
So you trade the dice. The hard part is if no one wants to trade with you, you're still
screwed.
stuck with those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like, if you have money, you can flip a dice and do things like that. But so
Sure.
you are at the mercy of the dice a little bit. But the game plays really quick, and it's fun. And
That's awesome.
It's got a cool theme. So I know, like, if you like beer and you're thinking about, like, oh, would I want to drink a bacon stout? You know, you're kind of thinking about that a little bit if you
They're
like
good.
beer.
They're delicious.
Right up your alley, Ryan. You love beer so much that
I can't wait
Right.
to play this. Ooh. Well, I mean, okay, that doesn't totally kill it for me because I don't drink at all, and I liked Vinos and Viticulture.
Yeah,
those
I
are
don't
wines,
think
so
it's
I would
not-
play it.
it's not
If the
just-
game is good, I don't
yeah.
care.
Right. It's not stuck in
Although
just
I am
beer.
kind of with you, anything train themed kind of turns me off. And I don't even understand why, because typically I don't really care about theme, but for some reason Trains is the most boring thing to me in the world. Like, I like Ticket to Ride, but every time I play it, I'm like, all right, Ticket to Ride, let's play that. And I play it, and I'm like, like, I don't, it just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
But I think I would definitely play Homebrewer, so that's cool.
Yeah, it's quick.
Awesome.
Yeah. Is that Joe's?
Joe. Yep,
Yeah.
Joe bought it.
Yeah.
Deepwater Joe.
Deepwater Joe. Deepwater Joe.
Yeah.
I did get him to say it.
You did?
Yeah. Yeah. We were at.
I was a little worried because he was never acknowledging
I
it.
know. We have this like chat
like, does
going,
he hate
and I'm
it?
like, we say Deepwater Joe, and he doesn't say anything. And I'm like, oh, either doesn't think it's funny, which is possible, or he's mad about it. And I'm like, I gotta find out. So we went into charity, the Extra Life. He like sits down, and I was like, hey, Deepwater Joe, and he's like, and then he sang it. He was like, Deepwater Joe, and I was like, oh, cool.
All right, good.
Yeah, that doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't hate it, but still. Okay, so awesome. That's Homebrewers, fantastic. Do you have anything else, Jeff? Because we got some more stuff.
No, go
There's
ahead.
a ton of stuff.
Oh my goodness,
all right.
we have a lot.
Yeah, I know you guys
Yeah.
got some good ones. I
Oh,
wanna
that's
hear.
cool. All right, so we played a 2-player game that, again, I talked about on the podcast years and years ago. We're going to bring it up again. It's called The Ravens
Oh,
of
you already
Three
talked about
Sahasri.
this?
Yeah, briefly. Me and Jeremy played it, like I said, when I first got it back in 2016. So it's been 3 years. We can talk about it
Can you
again.
say the title again?
Yeah, The Ravens of
Remember what I
Three, but it's not THREE, it's THRI.
Okay.
And then Sahasri is it's a Japanese
I could not
kind of
remember.
Can Natalie
anime
say
thing.
it?
No.
Okay.
Do it.
Well, I can say it when I read it.
She was
but
like,
if
the Bergens of Hergenberger.
I was like,
The Roger.
yeah.
The rural.
Oh, the rural
juror.
juror.
I don't remember what I
GJs.
said, but I totally botched the name. Like, if I'm looking at it, I can like read it,
Yeah.
but like
Don't look at it.
off the top of my head, I had no idea what it was called.
Yeah, she's like, when did we play at the Jingle Gang? I'm like, the Jingle Gang?
That's not what I said, but it was something like
It was
that.
something I kept
Something that
thinking
was
of.
just totally
I was like,
wrong.
yeah, there was a lot of jingle, not as much gang.
Was that on your can't pronounce list?
No, but it
It might be now.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
it might
it
be
would
for
be
Natalie.
now.
It might be for Natalie. So in the Ravens of Three Sahasri, it's a 2-player asymmetric cooperative card game, which there's not many, if any, of those around. It's 2-player only.
Mm-hmm.
And so, okay, the theme is some weird, crazy, like Japanese anime type theme. If you ever watch anime at all, it wouldn't seem as
And
odd
Ryan
to
does.
you. But this is weird. So I don't know if I can remember. There's this girl named Ren, and that's what one of the players. This is not that funny that I watch anime.
It was just he snuck it in. He was like, and Ryan does.
Ryan does.
Well, he's always trying to get me to watch it. He's like, okay, you want to watch One Punch Man? I'm like, no.
I'm like, but he
One punch
kills.
man so funny. He just punches one. He just punches and they die.
They explode.
Yeah.
There's this, like, they're like as big as the universe, and he's like,
And he's like,
bam, and they just explode. And he's like, well, that's boring. All right, so there's this one girl, and her name is Ren, and that's one of the characters. So Natalie took on the goal of Ren, and then the other guy's name is I don't remember. And
I didn't even know I was
basically-
Ren.
Yeah, Ren is basically in a coma, or she's asleep, or something, and she's trying to get back to not being in a coma.
Back to consciousness.
That's what I need to try. Man, I've been in this.
If you're ever in a coma, you just got to really try not to be.
Well, and her memories and her dreams are being attacked by these ravens. And so me, as the non-Ren boy player, I'm trying to rescue her from this coma that she's in and save her dreams so the ravens don't eat them. That's the theme. Yeah, it's weird,
Not really
right?
sure how
Yeah, crazy,
well
huh?
that comes into play.
Oh, it doesn't. All right, so basically, one player has 4 rows of cards.
Oh, it doesn't.
What's that? Yeah, it does.
What?
It does the theme doesn't.
I was laughing because you're like, oh, it doesn't.
Yeah, there is 4 rows of cards. 4 rows
I
of
was
cards.
just laughing about your. Okay, continue.
Yeah, okay. And so basically, Natalie, the Ren player, has to put cards in these columns or these rows that equal a certain number. So 3 of the columns, she has to put cards, then they have numbers on them, in these rows that equal 7. So she can put a 1, a 2, and then a 4, right? And that would equal 7. So that column's done. Then she moves on to the next column. The way she gets the cards is from me. I'm doing this little mini game in the middle of the table by like the cards. They don't just have numbers on them. They also have these little squares. And you have to put these cards, in this little pattern.
Like quadrants.
Yeah, they're like little quadrants, and you put them on in this little pattern on the middle of the table, and then Natalie takes one of them off and puts it in one of her columns. Now the thing is, we can't talk, so she can't tell me what she needs. So all of her columns start with a card face down that has a number on it. So if her card has a 4 face down, she only needs 3 in this first column, but I don't know that. Also, there's colors that matter. The color underneath if it matches the color that she puts there, it flips up, and then I can see the number. So if she has a 4 that's red face down, and I happen to put a 1 card that's red face up, she can grab that 1, put it in front of that 4, and now because it's red, the 4 flips face up, and now I can see. Okay, now she only needs 2.
Now he has all the information.
Right.
Yeah.
The reason you might not want to do that is because all these cards, they have multi-use. So they have numbers on them, they have those quadrant things, and then they also have a power that they can do. But you can only do the power in certain scenarios. So sometimes you don't want to flip that card over, because if you don't flip that card over at the end of the round, then Natalie gets to take that card and use it for a later round in the game. So there's a bunch of different reasons you want to and don't want to, to get that card to flip up. So you're trying to share information as you glean it as you're playing. Natalie's taking cards that help her complete these columns, and I'm trying to understand, okay, she took that, so she probably needs this card in this color. Because also the cards that are face down are only a certain color. So there's, let's say, all 4 that are face down, there's 2 yellows, a green, and a blue. Only those colors can exist in this tableau. Or in the middle, this mini game that I'm playing when it's all
Not
done.
Not only, but they have to be.
They have to be those colors, yeah. Right. I can't have any additional colors in the little mini game I'm playing at the end of the round. And so again, we don't know this. Neither of us know. So you just have to glean and try to guess and interpret what the other player's doing. And it's really fun and it's really challenging. And it's got a little legacy component too. At the end, if you can succeed, you have to play through 3 different rounds. And in my mini game, I'm drawing cards from this deck and putting them in the middle on this little mini game. And these Raven cards come out, and if they come out, they eat cards, which are equating to the dreams. And if they eat so many cards, those cards are out of the game. And if the deck ever runs out, we lose. It's very cool. It's very weird. I've not seen anything like it. It's got that asymmetric cooperative play, and I would play it again. It's fantastic. It's in this little box. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I thought this game was super interesting. Yeah, I agreed with you. I've never seen anything like this. It was very strange and interesting that we're playing cooperatively, but we're both like doing 2 completely separate things. Like what I'm doing is completely different than what you're doing, but we both have the same like end goal. It's very strange, and we're trying to like get each other information. It was really interesting, but I really liked it. I really liked playing as the player who knows the hidden information. I'm not so sure. I'm curious how I would like playing the part that you played. Mm-hmm. I feel like that part's much harder.
It was hard.
And so I'm like,
also,
I wonder
it might be
what
more
I would think of
interesting
it.
now. I wonder, because I feel that way too. Would I be bored playing the you character? Because the non-Ren person is doing like
the boy.
the majority of the stuff. I'm drawing cards from the deck. I'm dealing with the Ravens. I'm putting this little mini game out for her to, and literally all Natalie's doing is taking a card and putting it in front of her, depending on what I do.
Well, she's in a coma.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
How much can you do?
Right.
So very cool game.
And we only played it once, and I thought it didn't seem that difficult. Maybe we just got lucky, but we won it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely unique.
And when you win, there's little envelopes to open.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and it makes the game harder.
That's
so
right.
it wouldn't feel the same every time.
Okay, so maybe
Yeah.
it'll get a little
Great.
bit harder the next time.
If we play it again, it would definitely get harder.
Yeah.
Although,
I think we should play it again.
absolutely. Yeah, when we play it again. Sorry, I'll amend.
There you go.
So that's the Ravens of 3 Sahashri. Fantastic game. Little card game. Jeff, you got anything else?
No.
Okay. Well, then let's talk about another one.
Yeah.
Another 2
Normally
player.
we're the ones who play like 1 or 2 new games.
We've been
This
killing
week,
it. We killed it.
yeah.
We played game after game after game.
You're
So
playing
I got
it,
another little 2-player small box card game from the creator of the company is Small Box Games. Yeah. So the guy's name is John Cloudis, and he has these line of games, and I don't think they go to retail. I think he just promotes them on his website. And he does Kickstarters and stuff like that. It's called
cool.
Small Box Games. Right. So the newest one that came out just recently is called The North. 2-player only game. This one's not cooperative, but it's really cool. I posted a picture on Instagram. It has
Yes.
really evocative artwork.
Yeah, the art, I think I just said, I
You're
commented on
like,
your
the
picture.
art looks cool.
It looks cool. It looks
Yeah.
interesting. I've
the
never
little
seen
symbol,
art like that.
the little symbol on the box, I think is like the coolest.
It looks really sweet.
Like, I don't know what
it's in this
called.
teeny tiny little
Yeah.
box. And so all it is basically a card acquisition game. Is really what you're trying to acquire cards, because the cards are all worth points at the end of the game. Basically, And it's kind of like a deck builder, but it's so weird, dude, because it's not like in a normal deck builder, you add cards to your deck. Once your deck runs out, you shuffle your discard pile into a deck and use that to draw from. In this game, it doesn't work that way. Every single time it's your turn in this game, you shuffle what's in your hand, what's in your discard pile, and what's in your deck together to form a new deck.
That's
and you
cool.
only draw 3 cards every time. And so you have a bunch of cards in your hand, and you only have 3 cards. But as the game goes on, the cards play and chain, and you're drawing cards from your deck, you're putting cards in your discard pile, you're doing like so many things on your turn with just those 3 cards that it turns into like a really cool, like almost like a dance of like, how am I going to pivot over here to play this card? No, I can't play that card now because that doesn't allow me to do this. So all you can do on your turn is there's a couple actions you can do. You can either discard a card to take a card from the center, and that center card will have points. It goes right in your discard pile, or you can take a card and put it in your tableau in the front, and it does something for you, gets you points. It's all about, you're trying to it's kind of like Magic the Gathering, where you're trying to kind of kill the other person, but really you're just trying to end the game. And then whoever has most points wins. It was very clever. If anybody hasn't heard of Small Box Games or John Cloudis, I would encourage you to just check it out. You can buy the North. It's very small. It's probably, I haven't been onto his website, but I can't imagine it's an expensive game.
Did you just buy it from the website?
I kickstarted it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else does he make? What else is on the small box? Do you know?
Yeah, I can't think of any of the games off the top of my head. There's none that I don't think you would have heard of.
Okay.
Yeah, because all the other ones he had done, I had not heard of. The only reason I found this was on a Board Game Geek. It was a forum, and it was just like, new small box game, the North. And I was like, what is that? I just clicked on it, and all these people were like, oh, John, you're back. I loved... And then they named like 5 of his other games. Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll take a chance on this. And I thought it was really interesting. What did you think?
Yeah, it was interesting. I think I need to play it again to know how I really feel about it. I wrote down that I thought it was a little more than good, not great, because of the fact that I want to play it again.
Yeah. Well, was there too much going on at the beginning, or?
Well,
because it's pretty simple.
No, it is simple. I think that's part of my problem with it. I felt like it was like simple, but not in like that much fun of a way. That sounds so mean. I remember feeling a little like bored with the actions. There wasn't like a ton of options. You're just either taking a card. I remember being confused too, which I am right now. Help me out here.
Yeah.
But and I remember like the cards mostly did the same things or a combination of the same things, and I remember the actions feeling, a little bit like boring. So
wow. Tell me how you really feel.
I don't know.
I thought
it's okay to not like everything.
Absolutely.
This is good.
I thought it was super exciting.
I know you did.
We're not usually totally this at odds.
Yeah.
The cards were multi-use.
That's what I mean, though. I think I need to play it again. I don't quite have an idea of how I feel about it.
Okay. Well, all right then. What I liked about it was the cards are multi-use. Every single card has 2 sides, and the 2 sides are very different. So you can either use a card for its front side, which is its ancient side, or its other side, which is kind of like a location.
Yeah.
And they each do something different. They each chain off different actions and do stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I did like the part where you have like your score on like a card, and it's just like you're getting points taken away by each other.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it kind of goes back up when you're adding up, your card points.
Sure.
That was nice.
Yeah. Okay.
And the logo was cool.
You don't have to. It's okay. If you don't like it, you don't like it.
No, I want to try it again, but
We will.
I don't really know.
We'll try it again. So that's the North, Small Box Games, and John Cloudis. The last game I think we'll talk about before we move on is the new hotness from Fantasy Flight. This was announced at Gen Con this year, and it's called Marvel Champions. And it's an LCG. And the reason I really wanted to play this game is because I really, really, really liked Star Wars Destiny. As everybody knows, that's my favorite game of all time. That was Fantasy Flight's collectible card game, the last one that they did. And I love the Marvel theme. Marvel is just, so many people can identify with Marvel, and they love Marvel. And so when this came out and it kind of had the LCG format, I kind of got excited because it was kind of like another, a Marvel game that we're in this time we're working together to take down the bad guy. And I don't have to rare chase. I don't have to spend a ton of money to get the best cards. We can just know in the LCG format, which if you don't know is living card game. This is they release a ton of content monthly for this game that builds up because you can deck build and do all this kind of stuff with. But everything that comes out is static. So I buy the new expansion. Natalie buys a new expansion. Jeff buys a new expansion. We all have the same content. It's exactly the same. But you can take that and deck build with all the existing stuff, and we can create completely different decks and have different experiences. So in this game, you play as a superhero. So I was Spider-Man. Natalie was Captain Marvel, and we were fighting against Rhino. And in this game, basically, you're paying for cards with other cards in your hand. So if I'm going to fight Rhino, the cool thing is you're either using your alter ego side. So I'm either going to be Peter Parker, or I'm Spider-Man.
That's cool.
And if I'm Spider-Man, I'm attacking. If I'm Peter Parker, I'm healing and doing other like things.
Homework.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Flirting with MJ.
Yeah.
And when Rhino goes, so you have like every cooperative game, there's like a hero phase and then the villain phase. So when Rhino goes, what he does to you is dependent on what side you're on. So if I'm on my Spider-Man side, when it's Rhino's turn, he'll attack me. And we lose if one of us dies. If I'm on my Peter Parker side, he advances his scheme. And so every villain will have a certain amount of threat points, like a threshold. And if they exceed or meet or exceed that threshold with their schemes, then you also lose. So these schemers. That's basically me.
Yep.
He's scheming. So it's cool because you can really work it so, okay, you can do all these actions and then you're attacking Rhino like crazy. And if you yourself have low hit points, right before your turn ends, you can flip to your alter ego side and he won't attack you. But you have to be careful because he'll scheme. So
Sure.
you're going to die either. You can die by either thing.
Yeah.
So, but it was interesting to me the way you work your actions to maximize your turn. And so for that reason, I thought it was fun. It wasn't quite as exciting as I hoped it'd be. And I'm bummed about that because I spent, a decent amount of money on this, and I'm just kind of bummed. And I'm even more bummed because of what Natalie's going to have to say. Uh-oh. Tell us what you think about Marvel Champions, Natalie.
I feel like I'm sounding like a downer. We should have mixed up the games I liked between the games that I didn't like.
Sorry.
So you liked all the ones early, and now
yeah.
Well,
I mean,
she liked Deep Blue, and then
I like Deep Blue.
You like the Ravens
and Galaxy Trucker and Ravens.
Okay, so yeah,
like
it was
half.
Right in the middle. So shoot us down here.
Okay, so I was playing this and I was like, I'm realizing that the games with like attack and stuff are not like my favorite games. But I think the problem with this game was comparing to Destiny. I just like wasn't as into it. I don't know if it's because it's not competitive. Destiny, you get into it more because you're like trying to like beat the other player and they're like attacking you back. And in this one, we're playing cooperatively and we're both just trying to attack like this
villain,
this card on there that has some health left. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just like when we were like, I found myself like not really caring what you were doing on your turn.
That's mean.
And I was like thinking about more what I was going to do on my turn.
Selfish.
But when we were playing like Destiny and then it's competitive, I'm like on the edge of my seat the whole time. Like, what are you going to do to me? And what am I going to do back to you? And it was just, I got way more into it.
Right.
And
You're
so
a sadist.
I'm wondering if it's like the competitiveness that I enjoy more in these type of games.
Sure.
But having said that, I don't think it's a bad game. I liked it in general. I'd say
too.
like good, not great. Oh my God, stop it. I think my favorite part of the game was, well, first of all, I think this was the first game I played where you pay for cards with other cards. That was tough because there's a lot of cards I was like, no, I want to keep this card and use it, but I can't because I need to pay for this card. And so
actually get rid of it.
yes.
So discard. It's not like it just like it.
No, you have to
away.
like
It doesn't
yes.
just continue to add back to your pile. It's
No,
like
it does.
gone. Okay.
You discard it, so it'll come out later. But it's like Race for the Galaxy, right? You're in a turn. You're like, I want to use this card so bad, and I got to pay the rest of my cards. Like, oh wait, but I wanted to use this card next turn, but now I can't if I want to play this,
exactly.
right? So it's like
so I think that was my favorite part of it. Making the decisions of what to play and what to get rid of, and
sure,
having playing your turn and having things like snowball. But that's about all.
I'm interested to find out, like, there's more content being created for it. Like, I'm kind of I really liked gaming the Peter Parker deck, and it just, for some reason, I wish it would have given me the, like, when I first played Destiny, I was like, I want everything. I want to deck build and create my own stuff, and I don't feel that with this one. I don't have the desire to deck build, and you don't have to. You can just, when new decks come out, every month, like they release a new character. So like next month they might bring out Captain America, for instance, and it's a deck, and you can just play with that deck, and that's it.
Yeah.
So you don't have necessarily the drive as much to create your deck, I would say, because like any game like Destiny, you want to create your deck to beat your opponent. Right. This one, if they give me a deck that works, I'm going to just play it and see how it works, you know? So the game itself I thought was fun.
Yeah, I thought it was fun, and I like that you can like switch from the superhero to like the person.
The alter ego.
And, there was a couple fun moments where, I was like, I was like adding up all like the attack I can have, in one turn. And I was like, I think I can kill this guy, or I think, I can kill the first version of this guy.
Yeah.
And that stuff was fun, but
I've never got into any CCG or LCG. It's
Ever.
it's never been on my, other than when I was like 10, I played Magic a little bit.
Yeah.
But I've never got into, none of them have ever grabbed my attention. Yeah, and I've played Star Wars Destiny a couple times with you, and that's just not fair because I don't know what I'm doing, and then you like, destroy me.
Yeah, it's about right.
Yeah, I've just never, even games like, the vast majority of card-based games I just haven't got. Like, Thunderstone might be my favorite in terms of just like almost strictly cards, but even like, what's the other Marvel one where you're fighting? Legendary. I didn't
get into it.
Yeah, I just never get into those games.
That's interesting. So deck building games in general just don't do it for you.
The thing is, I'll play them and I like them, but I don't own many of them.
Yeah.
maybe, you just don't
Like Ascension's cool, Dominion's cool.
Yeah, you had Rune Age.
Thunderstone's cool. Rune Age was fine. There's like, but then I never get pumped up for one of them.
Yeah.
Like I'm never like, I'm gonna go grab this and play it and I'm gonna love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, that format just doesn't seem to do it for you.
Yeah, I'd rather play like Natalie. I'd rather play a Euro game.
Although
You
the one
two
exception
definitely,
for me,
I'd say,
We have
lean
similar-
very
yeah,
similar to
I was,
in
the one
kind of game
exception
you
to
like.
that is Ascension, because I do love that game.
You just gotta kill
Yeah.
the cultists.
Kill the
Yeah,
cultists.
but
Kill the cultists.
you had asked me
kill the cultists.
after we played Marvel Champions. You were like, "But what about Legendary? We played that a bunch, like back in the day." And I was like, "I think that I was like so new to games that I didn't have the opinions I have now. I just liked everything back
Yeah,
then."
you were nice back then. Now you're just a big fat jerk who hates everything.
No, you hate a lot of
take
things
that.
too.
I know, I do. I'm just joking with you.
You hate a lot of
Yeah, you hate things too. So you acknowledge that you hate things.
I don't hate them.
So that's Marvel Champions. That's we have more games, but you know what? We're just getting too long.
Yeah,
We're gonna just move on. We'll save these for next time. That's a lot of the games we've been playing recently. What I want to do is move on to what we used to do way back in the day when Jeremy was with me. Was we would do a topic every episode, and I loved doing that. I liked the discussion that happened with me and Jeremy. And now that we have three of us, I always want to know, the way Jeff thinks and the way Natalie thinks. And so I wanted to talk about basically board gaming in general and what it means to you, because I'm going to go on and tell you what it means to me, but I want to know what it means to you guys, kind of like, what do you enjoy most about the hobby? What makes it that thing that you want to spend all your time on? Why do you love it so much? You at home listening, answer these questions as well. What is it about board games that appeals to you? It's easy to just kind of get into it and go on and just not really deep dive into your thoughts and feelings on why you like something. And I think it can be really interesting and fun to kind of figure out what makes it tick for you. So Jeff, I want to start with you. Do you have kind of some thoughts here about this topic? Because tell me, what gaming is to you. What does it mean to you?
Yeah. So when we were texting about like the topic and talking about like, why do you love games? What makes you love it? It's you really have to like think about it.
Yes.
Because there is moments where you're just like, I just want to play games.
Yeah, I just feel this way.
Then there's like, why do I want to play
Right.
games? It's
Like besides the
next
fact
level.
that it's fun.
Yeah, it's like I have fun. And I think, so I'll start with fun.
Yep.
And I think
I'm sure we all
fun-
have that.
fun comes for me in like two different ways. One is I enjoy the challenge of games. Like I enjoy trying to figure out how to do well in a game, which is maybe why I lean toward
Euro style
games.
I agree with that.
So the challenge is one huge thing. And the other thing is that, and I don't know what came first, chicken or egg, but like we all love games. Like my friend group loves games. So like the fun is not only what I'm doing on the board and trying to figure out that challenge, but it's also like laughing and half singing and goofing around with my best friends. And it's just amazing. And I know that we all kind of got into it at a different stage. I think Bill was kind of the first person with Hero Quest, and then Ryan started to play, and then it was like, look at these cool games, and we all kind of like creeped into this hobby, and now we're in it. Like we're in it with hundreds of games and games we don't play. And I think...
And we do a podcast about it.
And we do a podcast about it. We text about... We have a group that just texts about board games.
Yeah.
So I love the challenge. I love just being with people who I love and playing something that's awesome and that I enjoy.
Does it seem like it's more of a cerebral experience for you? Because you lean towards the Euro style games more than... And like, I mean, I think you have more fun with Ameritrash games than Natalie does, but I still would say, and correct me if I'm wrong here, that's not where your passion in gaming lies, is with those. You kind of more of like I'll use Underwater Cities or Coimbra as an example for you. Something that you can look at the rule set, look at the strategies available, and figure out, okay, I'm going to figure out what is the best thing to do, and that is where you're getting the fun. When you figure that puzzle out and you execute it.
Yes, I love that. And on the flip side of that, when I play Ameritrash games, the most fun I have in Ameritrash games is goofing around with the people that we're playing with. And like when we're playing Mice and Mystics and trying to calling things achievements and just laughing at these goofy things that happen. And I don't necessarily care a ton about how the game is going.
Interesting.
It's kind of like, and then in the moment of playing it, it's like an escapism where you're just, nothing else is going on in the entire world except this board and the game and the people that I'm around. And it's a form of just forget what's happening. Let me play this game and enjoy people. I don't want to take everyone's talking point. So if you have more to say, I'll move.
That's one of mine.
No.
I'm fine hitting these things multiple times. I definitely want to know everything about, I'm very interested to know what it is that grabs you about the hobby. Because, I mean, we've been friends forever. And this, maybe poker was the other thing that kept us,
poker and Halo video games, probably poker video games.
But this, even more than those, has sustained our interest.
Yeah.
And, it's just interesting to me. Why? Natalie, what about you?
Well, obviously the enjoyment part, the fun moments, making memories. But I played games even before I got into these hobby kind of games. I played games. I was like the game person with my family. Everyone's like, Natalie, bring games over.
Oh, you were?
And yeah.
What games did you bring over?
It was stuff like apples and Taboo and Scattergories, just like
mass market
the
type
normal
stuff.
But I loved them. And I had game nights and I was the game person. And so, I mean, even though now, I found the types of games that I enjoy the most through Ryan, in general, I liked playing games even before that, even when I was a kid.
And what was it about them?
And I think that it is the whole point of connecting with people. I think that it's a great way to interact and get to know people without the awkwardness of small talk. I also think that when you're at a party and everyone's just mingling, it's nice. It's all right. But when you pull out a game and then all of a sudden everybody gravitates towards that game and all of a sudden the party lasts longer than it would have if you weren't playing games and everyone's laughing and everyone's having a fun time, to me that's so much more fun than just sitting around chatting, eating some food. And I just can't think of anything else if I was with a group of people that would be as fun as doing this. Babe.
Wow. All right, I'm getting a little misty here. I should have ended with you.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Should we take a break?
Yeah, maybe we should come back. That was great.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, okay.
Well, I have one more point too.
All right.
Besides that, that's probably the biggest one because I was thinking about it, yeah, whatever. Anyways, the other point is analyzing. Ryan and I really love to analyze every single thing in our entire lives.
Yep.
And so
you're gonna leave and I'm gonna be like, Jeff had his left hand on his cheek. What did that mean? You think?
One thing we do, we analyze people all the time. Why did they do this? Maybe it's because of this. Maybe because of this. Maybe they're this type of person. And we just find it really interesting to talk about that.
Yeah, we always say understanding something is the key to accepting it. Right.
And so games is another thing that keeps that discussion going and relevant all the time. We play a game and then we analyze it to death. things that went right, things that went wrong, what we liked about it, what we didn't like about it, and even analyzing the people who we're playing the games with. They reacted in this way. I wonder why that is. And
so many things can affect the enjoyment of a game you're playing outside of just the mechanisms of the game.
Yes.
Yep.
Right? I mean, and that's what's most fun for me to analyze with you or with any of us. Like we played this game and I'm like, I liked the game, but something about it didn't do it for me. And what was it? The game seemed like it was really good. Maybe it was because I'm in a weird mood, or this person wasn't having fun, and that just kind of brought down the enjoyment inherently of the rest of the group, because we're all trying to pretend like we don't notice this person's having a terrible time, and that can affect your enjoyment of the game in a positive or negative way.
Right. Even after we played Marvel Champions, I said how I felt about it, and you were kind of like, yeah, it was all right. And I'm like, well, was it all right because that's how you actually feel about the game, or was it all right because I made the play worse for you because you could tell I wasn't having fun? And then we were talking about it.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to. I don't know. That's a real possibility.
Or the opposite.
Yeah,
or the opposite of like,
someone's
is this game good, or am I just having a really fun time playing it with the people that I'm around?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I think that way all the time about you and Dave. Mm-hmm. The four of us, when we get together, I don't think it matters what we play. It's fun.
Yeah.
It almost doesn't matter what we do.
It doesn't.
And so sometimes I'm like, okay, I'll think. This happens a lot. Like Marvel Champions is an example. We played it, and I'm like, I don't know how much that was. And I'm like, what if I played that with Natalie, Jeff, and Dave? I'll bet you we would have the best freaking time.
Right.
And so it's like, I don't know how I actually feel now about the game. Yeah. And so part of that is like, okay, I'm not going to play this with the four of us. So, and if it wasn't fun with just the two of us, because there's plenty of games that are fun with just the two of us. If it wasn't fun for just the two of us, maybe we get rid of it, because we don't play the four of us together all the time.
Right.
Okay. So anyway, I'm digressing a little bit. So if I can talk a little bit about what gaming means to me, I'm going to hit a lot of points that the both of you talked about. Jeff hit one really good one that I wanted to talk about. But what I kind of distilled what gaming means to me down in a sentence of: gaming to me is sharing an exciting, low stakes competition with the people I love the most. So I don't love, going out and like having this like, okay, I have to win or it's going to ruin it. But I do like it on a very low stakes thing. Like, hey, we're all together. Let's see who wins this game. Like, that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And it's not even the competitive nature of it. It's more just there's something there that keeps us engaged.
Yes.
It's like, that's why I mean the stakes are low enough that we're all trying our best. And watching Jeff, figure his turn out to do the best he can, and then watching Natalie do the same thing, and then feeling that I'm doing the same thing, that makes me so happy. Because we're all engaged. It has nothing to do with who wins or loses, but it's all that we are all trying together. There's like this like social contract that you enter into when you come into one of these games, that we're all going to do our best to win. Mm-hmm. And when that's happening, that's one of the things that happens every time we play with you and your brother. The four of us get together, and all of us are like, it's not even what the game is. We're just like, okay, we're going to do our best and try our best at this game and make it the best experience for all of us. And it's so fun. But the thing that Jeff said that really was the main point I wanted to hit on why I love gaming is it's an escape from the pressures of daily life. It's an escape. When I'm playing a game, especially with the four of us, or we played last night with Brian and Heather and them, and we had the best. It was the best time. It was the best time last night. We had so much fun with them, and it was nothing in the world was happening other than that. Nothing. It could have been the apocalypse outside, and we didn't know or care. We were just all of us together having a good time in this almost like separate little universe that we created. That might be the thing I love the absolute most. Is I don't think about anything else, and it's true in this podcast too. We're talking about games, all that stuff, and nothing is existing outside of this. And that is one of the main things I love so much. I love seeing also someone's eyes light up when I show them a new game that they've either never seen. I mean, it's like getting someone into the hobby is the same kind of thing. You see their eyes light up, and it's like, oh, that exists outside of playing. I also love researching the next new game. Mm-hmm. That's so much fun, because what I found in Star Wars Destiny, I'm chasing that forever. I was chasing that before I found it, and then I found it. And so now I know it exists. I can have that much fun with a game. And so I'm chasing that afterward. And I love doing that. I love just like, oh, this came out. And Jeff and I text each other all the time. Like, did you see this came out? Or this game was announced. And we talk about it, him and I, just like constantly. what do you think about this? Oh, did you kickstart that? Did you back that? Like I just backed this new game called Fossilis.
Fossilis.
Based on a recommendation from Jeff. And I had never heard about it. And then when he showed me, now I'm like, oh, I'm super jazzed up about it and excited. And that exists outside of the game.
Right. It's not even just playing the games. This is like part of your life.
Yeah. It's
every single day.
Yeah, exactly. And then teaching the games. I love teaching games to people. The best thing in the world is when I teach a mid to heavyweight game to people and I go through it. And then there's no questions at the end, and we just start playing. I'm like, oh, that's like the greatest feeling in the world. I love the variety. Like I said, I talked about chasing the next big thing. I love the variety that these games provide. You know, it's not there's something for everybody. I have a million different games. I love the next new thing where it's like, oh, like why didn't I like we did last time? Why didn't I think of that? Like that's so new and brilliant and different. Like we played Strike again 5 times last night.
Yeah,
and it's like that's the stupidest little game ever. But I had never played anything like that before. And it's like, and but that is so different than a game like Coimbra.
right.
But I can have just as much fun playing either of those. You know what I mean? When a game, like Natalie said, when the game night's clicking and everyone's having a good time, there's nothing better than that moment. Small talk sucks. You know, hanging out and talking is great.
Right.
If the three of us were just hanging out and talking, I would have so much fun doing it.
Right,
But
but
when
it
we're
also
talking
depends.
while we're playing something,
Yeah.
it's like it just brings it to that next level, right?
Yeah.
And I also enjoy when you're playing a board game and you see this design that this person has created. It's so impressive. That also like how did this person come up with that and think of that? God, it's inspiring and it makes me want to design. And that's a little bit about why I love gaming. Do you guys have anything else you wanted to add?
No.
I like to your point of like teaching games, and I know like you're someone who's probably introduced games to more people than like anybody else I know, which is so cool.
Yeah,
and
thanks.
I know everybody at your work like loves you and appreciates it and like buys you gift cards, and then you buy more games and you bring more games to game night. And it was one of the reasons why I started Board Game Club, is to see like young people enjoying this hobby is very cool.
What is better than
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Their hobby is right, like their phone is part of them, and to see them on Fridays put it down for like 2 hours and to play a game is so cool.
Wow. See, that's something I never even really thought of.
Yeah, and
that generation is just electronic.
Yeah,
Right.
And the stuff they play on their phone is cool. You can play Mario Kart on your phone now. Did you know that? They're
No.
like obsessed with playing Mario Kart. And I'm assuming if Lydia's listening in Missouri, that her kids are like they're playing that.
That
They're like
barbecue.
Fortnite, and they're just playing
Yes.
Right.
2K on their phone, and they're just playing all these games on their phone. But for them to go, okay, cool, and to actually like manipulate something and learn a game, and then mid rule teaching where they're like, I get it. That moment is very cool. It's also like a branch of my job where
Yes,
I'm teaching all day, and to be able
absolutely.
to teach
Yeah.
games is very cool. And then these kids take that with them for the rest of their lives, and they play. Though
And
I
they
have kids
teach
in
other
college.
people.
Yeah, I
Right.
have
It's
kids
all
in,
because of you.
yeah, I have kids in college who will come back and say like, I introduced Avalon to this group, and they love it, and they
How
want to
does
keep
that
playing.
feel? Doesn't
It's
that
so
feel
cool.
amazing? What's better than that?
Yeah.
Right.
Or to see, we have the board game T-shirts where we have our own logo. And thanks, Ben.
Yep.
Clone 13. Oh, wait,
Clone 13.
No,
That's not
no
his name.
clone.
No, that's not his name.
Ben Derek, 6 underscores.
Yeah.
But like the fact that we have like a brand is very cool, and they walk around, and now we have Meeple pins, and the kids are wearing like Meeple pins on their
Maples.
IDs.
That's so
Maples.
cool.
Maples,
Maple
according to
pins.
Lexi.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I love the teaching part. It's really just added a new level to why I love.
That's a great point
Gaming.
about the kids and the electronics. That's got to
That
feel
is a
so
really good
good
point.
to see
Very
them
cool.
all. They're not doing now. They're engaging with each other,
Yep.
and they want to.
Yeah.
Right. They want to put. You're not forcing them. Like, all right, put your phones in the basket. We can't do that.
Right.
You know, they're like,
there's
okay, I
no
wanna
way
play.
that that's not
Yeah.
more fun than like playing by yourself on a phone.
Right. And they would not have. That would not have happened if it wasn't for you.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
how
cool.
cool does that feel? I mean, So that's a little bit about what board game means to us. Think about what board game means to you. You know, I'm sure, hopefully you have, when you heard this discussion, we have exhausted, I'm sure, every single reason. I'm sure you all feel the same. I'm just kidding. I would love to hear your reasons for what board game means to you. Jeff, maybe you could ask that on like on your story or something
Yeah,
like
I'll post that, and then I'll post our top 5
Because
too.
people
Get some-
respond to Jeff like
Yeah.
crazy. I would love to hear.
Yeah.
You know, what people
Yeah, we'll give you a
think.
shout out and talk about what other people said.
Yeah, absolutely.
that'd be
Or you have an email.
You could email us at thegamecasters gamecasterspodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
If you'd like to let me know,
That was
us
one
know.
try. This was not edited. This is one take. That was known.
First time ever, one take.
If you noticed, it was a struggle.
No, it was good.
I was like kind of like
Yep.
in my brain, I was
You
like,
had to,
am I
like,
doing this right?
pause.
But if you email me there, I like Jeff said, I'll love to give you a shout out on the next episode and tell us what board game means to you, and that would be fantastic. So with that, let's move into the blistering finale, which is the Gamecasters top 5, and this is a topic that came to us from our Mad Board Gamer, and it is the top 5 games that make me feel dumb. We'll see you on the flip. All right, we're back. We are doing the top 5 games that make me feel dumb. We're going to follow this up next episode with top 5 games that make me feel smart.
Yep.
Right? So what do we mean when we say top 5 games that make me feel dumb? I'm sure you've all played a ton of games by now, and you're kind of like, okay, I think I understand the general mechanisms of these games and how to do well at them. But then once in a while, there's a game that comes up, and you're playing it, and you're like, I have no freaking clue what I'm doing. Everyone else seems to. I don't understand how to play this. I don't know how to grok it. I don't know what I'm doing or how to even begin doing what I just feel like an idiot. And then at the end, you're by far in last place, and you're just like, and you feel dumb, and you feel like you can never play games again, and you're stupid.
Oh my God.
And then it happens over and over again. You play the same game over and over again. You're like, how am I getting worse at this
figure
game?
this out? I don't understand it. So, Jeff, Natalie, do you guys have your list?
I do.
Yeah.
Jeff, why don't you tell
sir.
me your number? Actually, you know what? No, screw this nonsense. Jeff, you're going to end it this time.
Oh, boy.
This is
Okay.
your idea. You're going to end
right.
it. I'm going to start it off. We're going to go me, Natalie, Jeff. What do you
Okay.
think about that? All right.
Sounds good.
My number 5 game that makes me feel dumb is a game that just came out. We've been talking about it over and over. Jeff just played it with his students across state lines in Missouri, and it's by Greater Than Games, and it's called Medium.
Really?
So the reason it makes me feel stupid. So I'll play a word card. Natalie plays a word card. Invariably, someone at the other end of the table goes, "Oh, there's only one answer
Yep.
for this,"
Oh, yeah.
and I'm like, "What?"
Mr. Measles.
Yeah, Mr. Measles. Thanks, Mr. Measles.
on, Measles.
You contribute
He
to this,
always
man.
does that.
I'm like, "What? There's one answer." I'm like, I don't. For me, there's 0. And then I say something, and then the person's like, "You dummy! This was the answer," and I'm like, "Oh!" And it happens a lot, and so that creates a little stress point for me when I play it. It's still super fun.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's wrong, but the game makes me feel dumb because there's a lot of times after you hear what your partner says, it's like,
Like, that was better.
of
Good
course,
answer.
that was way better. How didn't I think of that? So that's my number 5, Medium. Natalie, hit us with your number 5.
My number 5 is Lisboa.
Oh yeah.
It's
Okay. Well, so
a-
that one makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's not much to say. I mean, I think you can understand it's a very heavy game.
Vital Lacerda.
You know, I felt like it took you an hour and a half to explain it. And then before we even started playing, I was like, oh my God, I feel like I just went through a heavy gameplay and we didn't even start it yet. And so I think it was just a little too much for my brain to handle.
Yeah.
And I just felt, and you were like, oh, I love this game. And you're doing all these things. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm brain dead.
What do you think that made you feel stupid because you didn't understand it, or it was a grueling teach, and then you were tired?
No, I don't think it was just a grueling teach. I think it was a grueling game too.
Well, that's a heavy one. That's
You know,
like
it
4.5
just-
on
yeah.
the weight scale.
It just made me feel kind of, like I play so many games and, I understand all of them. And then this one comes along and I'm just like, oh, this is rough. This is rough.
I think that game makes a lot of people feel
Yeah.
dumb.
And I think I'm not alone.
You are
in that
not
one,
alone.
But
you are not
that's
alone.
my number 5.
Nice, Jeff. What about you?
My number 5 is a game I just recently played called Alchemist.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
That was because you're sitting and
Yeah.
you're kind of playing a game. I don't hate it.
Yeah, it's not
I
hate.
recognize that the
'Cause I don't
game
hate it
is
either.
good, but I sit there and you're playing a game essentially by yourself, where I'm sitting there and I'm making these notes and I'm crossing off stuff on paper. I'm like, yes, this is exactly what the ingredients are. And then I make a claim and I put it out there. And then next turn, Dave's like, nope, this one's wrong. And I'm like, okay. So now my whole sheet is ruined.
Longest road, I win.
And I don't know anything about what I'm doing in this game.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't click in my brain. And all these games I feel like are games I should be good at, We've played thousands of games. And I understand mechanisms, and I'm good at a lot of games. And this one, I'm just not good
For
at.
whatever reason, this
These
stuff happens.
5, I'm just like,
Right,
what
yep.
is my problem? And by
I don't
5, I
know.
mean the 15 I came up
Yeah.
with. I just can't. I should be good at these, but I'm just not.
That's a good
Right.
one. That's a
Yeah,
good one.
sometimes it's
Alchemist.
unexplainable.
Yeah.
You just don't. And that's why you feel dumb because you
Yep.
can't understand.
Yep.
Why you're not good at it.
Well, and the worst part is everyone else seems to be fine.
Yeah, everyone's fine.
Like, everyone's
Right.
doing
Except
it,
me, and I'm
you're
over here
like,
sweating trying to figure out what
like,
ingredient
why
is
can't
what.
I figure out how to get this newt tail to match? Yeah. All right. So number 4 for me is a game by Alexander Pfister,
Heyo, barely know her.
Yeah.
My boy.
and it's called Great Western Trail. Natalie's boy. So we played this at Nerdfest last year. I was so pumped about it. It's got that dynamic player board system that I love, where you're taking stuff off and it's giving you more things. And Natalie was, and we also played it with
Bill and
what was his name?
what's his name?
Who was it?
Measles.
Jeremy's friend.
No, it's not.
Oh yeah. What's his name?
We'll cut this part out.
Jason. I was like, it starts with a
Sorry,
J.
Jason.
No, sorry,
I kept thinking
Jason.
James, but that's
we haven't
not.
we haven't hung out with you in a while, Jason. That's the only reason why. So we played it with Jason and Natalie and Jason were crushing it. And I understood the mechanisms. I was like, okay, I get. Here's what I do. I'm going to do this and go here. And I came in a distant third. Me and Bill were like nothing. Bill, I understand. I think he was trying something different or something like that because it was his game. And I don't know what the heck was going on, but I was like, at the end of it, Natalie won by like 40 points. And I remember thinking to myself, like, what the heck did I do wrong? What could I have even done better? I don't even know how this happened. I did not understand what I did that was so wrong. I was like, I feel like I'm doing the same shit that you guys are doing. Why am I 40 points lower than you? I wasn't doing it good. I guess I was doing it bad. And so it was over. And I remember I felt dumbfounded. I was dumbstruck. Like, I wasn't just like, oh, I don't get this. I was like, I thought I did fine.
Right.
Why didn't I?
That's such a weird feeling.
Yeah. And so that it was frustrating
What
because I was
just
like, I don't know
happened?
what. Like, usually you lose a game and you're like, oh, okay, Natalie was doing this the whole time. That got her. I need to do more of that next play. That didn't happen. It was over, and I was like, I have no clue what I would do differently the next time. And so that's my number 4, Great Western Trail. Natalie, what about you?
It's really funny that you picked Great Western Trail for number 4 because I picked Rajas of the Ganges for number 4 for the almost exact same reason. You know, that's a game that you just get. You get
Yeah.
it.
Get it.
And same thing. I like the game a lot, and I feel like I'm doing all the right stuff, but I just cannot figure out how to get those 2 tracks
Yeah, to meet
move
up.
at an even enough pace where they would ever meet up, ever. Like, you know.
Like 10 more turns, you still can't get it.
Not gonna work.
Like, I played it twice into the same exact, like, it's not like I played it and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do this next time. I played it twice and the exact same thing happened where I'm moving up a ton on one track and then I'm like, oh no, I'm way behind. What's Ryan doing over there? Oh, he's doing some of this. Let me try to get up. I can't. Oh, game's over and I'm not even close. Like, I just can't figure it out.
Yeah, that's so frustrating. I'm sorry. Yeah, with that game, that's a frustrating one. I can understand.
So,
I mean, I can't really relate because I have, for some reason in that game I've had,
yeah,
You
it just
get it.
clicks.
It clicks.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll hear about it next
You might
week.
hear about it next time. Yeah. Jeff, what about you? What's number 4?
Number 4, I've been flipping back and forth between so I was originally
Where to
going to
put
have Journal 29 as being on my list, being
Yeah.
board game adjacent, but
Yeah,
I'm gonna,
sure. No, that's-
I'm going to
that's
do
fine.
a flip, and I'm going to go
Okay.
with a game.
All right, do it.
And the game that makes me feel dumb is called Robo Rally.
Yeah. That makes a lot of people feel dumb.
I hate this game.
especially Chris Bondi.
Poor Chris Bondi just went right off the board. It's a programming game where you're playing cards and you're programming, and I play it and I'm like, yes, I'm going to go exactly where I want to, and I never do. And then I watch Bill play this game, this game just clicks with Bill. And,
Yeah.
and he like
With style.
backs into the spot you need to go into, and he's like, oh,
on
now
purpose.
I'm facing the right direction for the next round. I play this game, and you got to get a certain amount of flags. You have to get a certain amount of points. And
Yeah, it's like capture the flag kind of thing, right?
I'm like, all right, I'm going to get to this one, and then the game is over, and I'm like, oh, everyone got 3 already. Cool.
Yep,
I'm
I had
still
a
stuck at the
miserable
beginning.
time.
I got caught on this conveyor belt, and I'm just going over and over again.
Do
in
you
the same
think
spot.
it's you're getting terrible luck? Because that game you can get screwed luck wise. If someone pushes you, now your entire program is messed up.
sure?
Or do you think it's
that
more?
happens sometimes?
Yeah,
I think I'm also just I will play something too quick, and I'm like, oh, I moved right before I knew where I was going.
You zigged when you should have
it's
zagged.
Part of it's a problem for me, but which is why Mechs vs. Minions is so much better because
Way better.
You're working as a team and
Cooperative.
you can like
You're
help
not-
each other a
yeah,
little
you're
bit.
not screwing each other up that
but
way.
yeah, Robo Rally makes me feel dumb.
All right. Number 3 for me is a game that I've owned and loved for many, many years. And I still love it and I still own it and I still suck. I don't know that I've ever gotten any higher than second place, which is a crowning achievement for me in this game, which I've played 15 times or so. And it's called Kingsburg.
That makes you feel dumb?
Oh, so dumb. Here's why. It's a super simple, light dice rolling worker placement game. It's like there's like nothing to it. And I cannot figure it the fuck out. It's just like Great Western Trail where I play and I'm like, what could I be doing better right now? How does Natalie you have like 10 points more than me at the end of the game. What did I do? Like I'm just building buildings like you guys. I'm going up one to get like the most points here. I don't ever lose the battle at the end, so I'm not like getting rid of things. And for some reason, I'm like 5 to 10 points below the next 3 people who are all like within 1 point of each other. And I want to rip my hair out, but I love the game. I think it's really fun. It frustrates me, but I'm not like, this game is stupid. Sometimes you have that feeling where you're like, ugh, I can't do this. This sucks. This is a dumb game. I'm like, this is really fun. I got to win once. And no. 10, 12 plays, no.
Yeah.
Never mind. What about you? What's number 3?
My number 3 is Cloudspire.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't. That was a tough game for me. I remember we were playing it and you could tell I was struggling. There was just something about it that I didn't get. I was making moves.
You frustrated right now?
Yeah. I was making moves, and then later I'd realize like, why did I do that? I can't even use that. I should have been doing this. And now he just like took away all my health in one turn and what am I doing wrong? I don't really get it.
Yeah, that is a very, very deep and complex game. That's not that in Lisboa for you. I
Yeah.
do not blame you at all.
Good.
Kingsburg, you can blame me. Blame me. So I understand.
But that's just one that I remember feeling like we were talking about it and I was like, I'm sorry, I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Like I don't really get what
know,
I'm
I
supposed to be
felt
doing here.
Jeff, how about you? What's number 3?
Number 3, I combined 2 games into one game because they're pretty much the same. The game Mutant Meeples / Ricochet Robots.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
It's my second
good one.
robot themed game.
That's
Yeah.
a good one.
This game, you need to get a meeple to a certain spot on the board, and the board looks like it's kind of like a maze, and you have to declare how many moves you can get that meeple to a certain spot.
Does that make sense?
So it's like, all right, I need to
so.
get the yellow meeple to the yellow portal, and they have to move in a straight line in every direction. So you move here and hits a wall, and then you move down and hit a wall, and then you have to get it to a certain spot.
Okay.
And so everyone stares at the board,
You're
and then
not
when you think
actually
you're
moving
ready,
it.
yeah, you just like look, and you're like,
You have
okay,
to figure it out, like,
this
in your
meeple
head.
can go left and it hits this wall, and then it goes down, and then I can ricochet it off this thing and go up, and then you declare how many moves, and I'm like, okay, I declare, I'm like, I can do it in 12 moves, and then someone else goes,
I can do it in 3.
I can do it in 3, and
Did
I'm
you
like,
guys play this at your birthday
oh.
party? Okay. I didn't play it, but I
yeah,
remember.
I was like, oh, yep, that makes sense. And I just can't do it. And you get to a point where like the first person to get like 5 robots in the right spot or something like that wins. And I maybe get 1 in a game. And
Donkey Kong
and
kills
I just,
it at this game.
And at that point, I just sit there and I'm like, okay, good job,
All right.
everyone.
Yeah. I
did
contributed
nothing.
nothing.
Yeah, it's one of those spatial
Society.
things. I'm not great
Yeah.
with those kind of spatial.
Same.
That's
stuff,
a
so-
really challenging game. I will say, when you actually do get a point, and it feels
Yeah.
amazing.
Especially against Bill and Dave, where I'm like,
yeah,
yes, I got
you're
a
like,
point.
I am the king of the world. I can do anything.
Yeah. And they're like, I have 4 and I'm about to win. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't care, I got one.
All right.
Yeah. So that's my number 3
That's a
games
good one.
that make me feel dumb.
My number 2, both my number 2 and my number 1 are games I know that Jeff is amazing at.
Really?
Yeah. So, all right,
I
my
know, yeah.
my number 2, you probably know at least one of them. My number 2 is a game by I think Simone Luciani. Is that his name? Simone Luciani? He's designed all these awesome games that I love, like Teotihuacan that just came out was kind of the sequel to this game that I'm about to talk about that came out in 2012, and it is Zulkin the Mayan Calendar. This is a
Great
game
game.
I know you
Yep.
love, and it's a good game. You haven't played it, I
Nope.
don't think, Natalie. So it's got these gears. It's basically it's a worker placement game. All you're doing is you're putting a worker on one of these gears, and then you can either put your worker on or you can take it off. All right, you have a bunch of different workers. And when you put a worker on and then you leave it there, right? On the next turn, the gears move. And when the gear moves, your worker that was on a spot goes into a next space. And now the longer you leave your workers on there, the better the stuff that you get comes back to you.
Okay.
It's really cool. And there's these tracks to go up on, there's these tiles to get, there's like 2 different sets of tracks. You have to still worry about feeding your people and do all that stuff. You have to worry about on which of these, what are these? What are the gears that you're going to go on to, and you got to hit one hard, and you got to do.
It's awesome.
This game, it's not like Kingsburg or Great Western Trail for me, where I don't know what I could do better. This game is just smarter than me. I'm just not smart enough for this game. I've played it 4 times. I actually won once.
Oh.
And I remember it happened, and for some
You were
reason,
like shocked.
Yeah, so it happened at Grand Con. I was playing with Jeff. Bill was teaching it. It was me, Jeff, and this other guy.
Richard Lanius.
Yeah. I have an anecdote about Richard Lanius, actually.
Have
At
you met?
Grand Con.
Yeah. Have you met Richard Lanius?
I don't think I've told you. Okay. So there's this game with magnets called Attraction. I've played it with him. No, so Jeff and I and this other guy were playing Zolkin at Grand Con, and I remember I was just playing, and I had no idea what I was doing. And at one point, toward the end, Jeff looks at me and he goes, "You're gonna win." And I was like, "Me?" And I looked down and I'm like, "I am." And I had no idea. I was just like playing the game. Like most games, again, you're like, okay, this turn I'm going to do this. This turn I'm going to do that. Oh, okay, that'll get me this points. This will get me, and you're like grokking it in your head. For me, I'm like, it's my turn.
Can I get some corn?
I can't go there. I can't. I guess I'll go here. Or I guess I'll take this off and get that.
Like every turn is just like a
I have
guess.
no freaking clue what I'm doing in this game. I almost put Bora Bora in this spot, but I've only played it that one time, and so
Yeah.
I just assumed maybe that was just that one play. I had the same feeling in Bora Bora that I have every time I play Zolkin, where I'm just like, what?
That was so long ago. How do you remember that?
I remember stuff like that is memorable to me.
Yeah, that's
because I
true.
remember
The
just
feeling.
like this is making me feel like the biggest moron in the room, which I probably am. But
Hey,
you know what I
dummy.
mean? Like that's how it feels. And so Zolkin is just one of those games that just does that to me.
Yep.
I just feel really dumb and frustrated, and it drives me
Maybe
nuts.
we'll hear
But
about the
it's
game
a great
next
game. Yeah, I think we might.
Next episode.
Natalie, what about you? Let's hear your number 2.
Okay. My number 2 is I named a game, but also just a general like mechanic as well.
Oh.
I named Lords of Vegas.
Oh.
I know you guys love this game,
Everybody
but
loves this
basically
game.
any sort of
Best game
like
ever.
negotiation betting type game is rough for me. I just feel like every time, like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how much to bet. I don't know what I want or don't want and how bad I want it or don't want it and what's like a good deal and what's not a good deal. And it just stresses me out. And it's very difficult.
Well, I will
for
say
me.
in Lords of Vegas, the betting is not the key component mechanism of the game. It's in the game. You can go to someone's casino and say, I want to put up $4,000 and then roll some dice. That's kind of like on the side though.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, and I remember when we played Lords of Vegas, you had a terrible time, and that was one of my favorite plays. The one we played with Brian and Heather.
Yep.
That one, I thought that was like it was
Really?
so. I mean, we've had some amazing
Yeah.
plays together,
Yeah.
but that was one of the because they had never played it, and so
That's
it
cool.
was this back
Yeah,
to our
they were
topic.
enjoying
They
it
were
a
like,
lot.
"Oh my god, this exists in the world!"
Yeah.
We played it. It was so fun, and Natalie was just like, "Yeah,
You can get crushed in that
okay,
game.
you can
Oh,
get
yeah.
annihilated.
You can't even turn the corner because you
yeah.
need a 2. You might not even have a 2.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
It can be brutality.
Yeah.
You do need a lot of luck when
Yes.
you're reorganizing a casino, or if you just happen to sprawl somewhere and then that just gets drawn by the next player and you're just like, "Ugh." So I understand exactly how you feel there, and I can tell that's not something you enjoy.
yes.
That game for our group holds a special place
I know.
because of the
I know, you all
experience
love
that
it.
we get every time. And honestly, I've won that game the last 8 times I've played
I
it.
know, you're afraid
I've
to play.
retired.
Yeah, he doesn't wanna
I've
play
essentially
it.
retired, which I'm fine with. Anyway, so that's a good one for you. It sucks because that's like one of the best games of all time.
Yeah.
Jeff, what about
You have
you?
lots of
What's
people
your
who
number
would
2?
love to play it with
You're
you,
right.
though.
Yeah.
You're right.
Number 2. Number 2 for me is Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective.
Great. Great choice.
Amazing, great game. I love playing it. It's fun for 2 hours. And then we hit this wall. And so that kind of falls in where I think why I like Detective or
Chronicles.
Chronicles of Crime a little better because I haven't
Yeah.
felt as stupid playing those games. And I don't know if it's like the older writing or like it's because the game's a little older, but Sherlock Holmes, you play it, and even if we solve it and we're like, we got most of it right. When you get most of it right, you just feel so good. And then you read that Sherlock got it in 4 moves and
Yeah.
finished the game and was already sitting at a restaurant and went to bed and
Yeah.
woke up the
And
next
solved
morning.
5 more cases.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, well, we're dumb.
Yep.
So that one's,
You're right. It does
that's-
feel that's a great choice. And if I would have thought of that and looked at that harder, that probably would have been on my list. What I'll say about that in comparison to Detective and Chronicles, I think if I'm looking at those first 2 hours that you're talking about, I have more fun playing that than almost anything else ever. Those first, like when we're like, oh, right, you're writing all the notes down, and we're like, oh, let's go here, and we're like getting all this information. I'm like, this is the most fun ever, and then it just tanks and nosedives. Where Detective and Chronicles, they don't get to that like level to me of like, oh my god, but they also don't tank.
Yeah,
and so they're better.
Yeah,
I agree.
For that type of game, I think in a play session for that. So great choice. Great choice. Number 2.
Dumb.
That's awesome. My number 1, Jeff knows this game. I know. I'm sure you can guess this. This might be, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say where it's going to be because it'll definitely be on Jeff's next week. But number 1 for me is a game by Tasty Minstrel Games. And it's called Homesteaders.
Yeah, it is.
You guessed it.
Did he? You knew it? Yeah. So you're just showing her?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this game, first of all, I know this might be... This has got to be one of your favorite games.
Yeah,
ever.
this is when we did it, we always do like top 9 on Instagram because you can post 9.
Yep, this is always on there for you.
Yeah, Homesteaders is
in
awesome.
part, I will say, because you are very good at it. You get it. It clicks for you. And what a great thing that is. Like Rajas of the Ganges is just like, oh, I get it. And it's like, oh, wow, okay. It's like you see the Matrix.
Yep, you
just
see
for
it.
some reason you're like, I can see everything of what I'm supposed to do and how to do it and where to do it. And the Matrix is closed off to me on Homesteaders. I have no freaking clue how to even begin doing anything well at this game. It's got this auction mechanism, which is so fun, and I'm just
great.
abysmal at it. I feel like Jeff always knows when to bid up or when to even not be a part of the auction and just move up on that track to get the other things. He knows exactly which building to go for, how to manipulate his workers, how to know when to take enough debt to get more workers. And I'm so any game that has debt, I'm so terrible at it. Bill always says, like in Homesteaders, he's like, don't be afraid to take some debt.
Right.
And I run with that. He didn't say don't be afraid to take all the debt.
All the debt.
Yeah.
I should have been afraid to take all the
It's
debt.
so funny. You're kind of like that with debt in games, and you're also like that with push your luck. You're always pushing it.
Yeah. I'm just
push it.
Yeah, I just cannot. I don't know. It's so that this Homesteaders is so maddening for me because again, I see Jeff and Bill especially.
Bill's
these
great
two,
at the game,
yeah,
too.
these two are just like they see the Matrix in this game, and I don't even know if I could play the game as much with Bill because Bill does this thing at the end of the game. Because at the end of the game, you do all these conversions.
Yeah,
there's this little chart where you can convert goods and resources into points and into money, and then the money into points, or like all this like there's like 3 different steps. And Bill is just so brilliant, and if you are too, I'm not trying to downplay how you are.
Bill
this.
is the
Bill
best
is
at it,
so
for sure.
brilliant at just seeing what you have and going, here's what you do to get the most points out of what you have.
Yeah.
At the end. And it's not like he's playing the game for you. He's just saying, like, I'm like, okay, I have a cow, an apple, and a gold brick. What do I do with this? And he's like, oh, you can just do that, and you get 10 points.
And he's being very, it's not like he's like, it's not a condescending.
No.
I'm
He's
trying
just
to play your game. He's
he
very
just
nice with like, this is how, this is
He
the
just-
best move for you.
Yeah,
which is
he just
cool.
understands it and does it for you.
Yeah.
And so playing without him, I'm sure I'm getting even
You'd be even
less
worse.
points
Yeah.
than I
You
am
need
now.
his help.
But the game's about to end. And I see like Natalie and Jeff, they got all these like little 5, like point, like because it's like that sheriff badge
Yeah, the
for
sheriff
the things.
badge.
And they're just like taking them back there. And I'm like, I have 3 points. And then
Does
Jeff's
3
got,
win?
Jeff's got
Does
like
3
2
win?
rows of tiles. And I'm like, I have like 4 tiles. I have 10 tiles, but 5 of them are debt. And I'm like, I can't. I don't know. It's so maddening, and I like the game.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Kingsburg, where I still like the game, and I kept it around in my collection for as long as I possibly could until eventually I was like, you know what? Jeff has it, Bill has it. I don't need it. It's a point of frustration and fury for me, so I'm just gonna let it go and play it another time because I do like the game a lot. So that's my number 1, Homesteaders.
Awesome.
Natalie, what's your number 1?
Oh, Ryan's not gonna like this.
I'm not gonna like it.
Ryan, my number 1 is Go.
Why wouldn't I like that? No, it's okay.
That is like one of those kind of like a spatial game that I just don't see it. There's things that we're playing, and I just don't see what's happening.
Yeah.
You gotta kind of like take control of the board, and we'll play. And I think I'm like, oh yeah, I got this. I totally got this side. He can't get through. And he's like, boop, 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 done. And I'm like, he's like, you were open there, and there kind of thing. And I was just like, I was? Oh my God. How did I not see that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't, my brain doesn't
And we're on the
visualize
smallest board,
right,
too.
that game very well.
Yeah.
And so that to me, I think that was pretty easily my number one.
You're right. I am a little
makes
bummed
me
out
feel
because that means we're not going to play it more.
dumb
'Cause you don't
game.
really wanna play it.
And maybe because like Ryan's good at that game too.
Yeah, he is good at it. And it's not, I don't, like, there's a lot of games like Rajas of the Ganges. Like, I would always play that because I think it's really fun, even though I
Yeah.
don't
Right.
get it. This game, it's almost like my brain just won't.
Doesn't
it just
work
can't.
that way.
It just can't.
It won't. Nope.
No.
Like, I can try and try, and
brain.
it just
No.
won't see what it won't see.
Yeah. You're just you.
Yep,
That's all you
I'm
can
just
do.
me.
All right. That's a good one.
Thanks.
Jeff,
Number
the time
one.
has come.
Yep.
Hit us with your number one game that makes you feel dumb.
And this game falls in the category of games that I feel like I should be better at. And again, I don't know, like you said, I don't know why I'm bad at it.
Yeah. I'm trying to
And
think. I'm trying to
it's
think what it is.
It's a game that I know has a special place in both of your hearts.
Oh.
And I'm almost embarrassed to say that Splendor makes me feel like an idiot.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So I've played
Okay.
Splendor a handful of times, and
Yeah.
every
Unexpected.
time I feel so
neither.
stupid because I watch other people get how many? What do you get to 12 points or something? What's it, 15,
Yeah,
or
15.
something? 15 points, and I watch other people just get points and points, and I'm sitting over here like, okay, if I do this, I can have 7, and then Dave's like, I'm done, I have 15, and I'm like, well, what did I do wrong? And I look, I'm like, I have cards. They have cards.
Yeah.
What's my problem?
Yeah.
Why am I so bad at a game
So
that
is that-
is a gateway game?
Yeah.
This is a gateway game. This game is an
It was my gateway game.
Yeah, it was.
This is a gateway into other games that are supposed to be harder, and I can't win. I can't even figure it out. I don't even know if I've scored double digits. I feel like such an idiot every time I play Splendor. So I don't own Splendor, and I won't own Splendor,
And I'll never play it again.
and it would be perfect for my students to play. But I'm not getting it.
No idea.
Yep,
I had no
that's it.
idea that happened to you.
Yeah.
I did
He's
Kept
not-
his mouth shut for all
So
this
bad
time.
at it.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's funny. Wow. Well, we all have. It seems like we all have a game that's like kind of simple like that on our list. That
Yeah.
Like what?
Why am I bad
Why
at it?
can't I do this? I don't know why. I just I can see how that would make you feel dumb. It's like
Makes me feel dumb.
the simpler ones make you feel stupider almost. Like
Yeah.
Kingsburg makes
Right.
me feel dumber. You know, like you not getting Lisboa, you'd have nothing to
Right,
feel
yeah.
bad
It's a
about
hard game
there.
to get.
Right,
But
right.
Splendor, I should be better at. But it makes
you
me
know
feel
what?
dumb.
There's a pacing in that
Yes.
game and a timing. And if
Yeah.
you don't, for whatever reason, see when to switch, like
Yes.
remember the first time that you and I played Palaces of Carrara?
Yep.
Do you remember that? And that's a game where you have to see when to switch building and start scoring. And Jeff saw that the first game we played and won by 100 points. That's a
Yeah.
game where you can win by,
Yeah.
you play that. You can win by a ton of points. And Splendor's kind of like that, where you kind of have to be like, okay,
I
I
gotta
got to
move
start
from the
going hard
ones.
from
Yeah.
the 2s to the 3s, or from the 1s to the 2s. Yeah, and if you don't, you're just gonna get left
I'm just over here like, I get 1 discount on whites. Okay, that's great. Or you gotta know when to take the right poker chips, or take the white, or only take one instead
Yep,
of
or take one into your hand and build it to
God.
yourself. Yep, right.
Yeah, or
Exactly.
taking one. That's even one where everyone else does that so effectively and takes one to save for later.
Yeah.
And then you can surprise
And you're
win.
like, I can never build this
Surprise
thing.
Yeah,
I take one, I can't even ever build it.
Dumb.
Oh my gosh,
Hey,
that's
dummy.
hilarious.
So now that we all feel real dumb,
Yeah. Now that we all feel dumb, we're going to end this. And thank you, everybody, for listening. This has been episode 28. For Natalie and Jeff, I am Ryan, and we are the Gamecasters. We will see you in 2 weeks for episode 29. Have a great night. Goodbye.